Hello and welcome to the Divine League Grand Finals from opening day to today, the Grand Finals. It's been me and Slayer on Bonfire, of course. We've got ourselves a fantastic matchup. Slayer, after seeing the beginning all the way to the end, how excited are you? Because I'm hands a little bit shaky right now.
I definitely have goosebumps running up and down my arms and back of the neck too, like it's Stranger Things with Will here. But I mean, it's so poetic in a sense, right? We open this whole thing up with actually one of the teams we're going to be looking with absolutely dominating out the gate. If you can remember all the way back to the beginning of summer, Michigan Esports, a more unknown team across former Divine Leagues splits have came in. They beat the brakes off everybody in the regular season. They went perfect 5-0, and then they got to the playoffs and had a bit of a tumultuous time. They dropped into the losers brackets, but they worked their way all the way back up to here, Bonfire. And on the other side, we got to see a team that had basically a mirrored sort of regular season versus playoffs run.
Yeah, I mean, Team Ambition Black has been the team to beat, but don't count Michigan Esports out. I know if you've looked at our predictions in the waiting screen, we both think Team Ambition Black will win this, but honestly, I'm not as confident, and that's because you mentioned something really interesting. Michigan, it does have their subs in the last game, and they still looked so dominant. Think about with the full team, it gets difficult to go against them, although we both do have Team Ambition Black.
Yeah, I just love how much Team Ambition Black have been playing this entire summer. I mean, it's not even just in the Divine League. I mean, if you've been watching all across amateur level at this level, you've probably heard Team Ambition Black make deep runs across multiple different leagues, including this Divine League, where they punch their tickets nearly, pretty flawlessly on their route to the grand finals here. I mean, they never had a perfect series, but Bonfire, they never dropped more than one game from all the way from round one back in the middle of July to the winners finals just recently at the turn of August.
Now, Team Ambition Black has been dominant. I was able to cast the upper bracket finals, and honestly, it looked like they might go on their way for a 3-0. Obviously, it went to 4 games. They dropped one, but even in the game they dropped, it was difficult for the other team to come back. So, Team Ambition Black, definitely the team to beat. Don't be surprised if you see some of these players in future LCS matches. These guys are some studs, but we're not giving Michigan enough credit. They've got some studs on their own. At the end of the day, though, it's not about the players, it's about the meta. I'm curious what you feel about the AD spot because there's been a bit of changes in the last couple months, but there's a pretty strong meta right now.
Yeah, it's very funny to see all of the people on YouTube or even Twitch streams, guys like LS that scream out to you. There's a couple other guys under there too, but they love to do the old tier creation for any sort of slot. And AD carry right now, it's like usually have that elite tier. Well, you had to make one above that one for Draven because Draven is just the king right now of AD carry. So I
Look
wouldn't
at
be
Draven.
shocked if we see Draven just banned out off the rip, or teams are trading Draven back and forth. It's going to be mostly between, I would say, Draven and Sivir are the top two that are getting traded back and forth. So certainly want to keep an eye out for Instant and All for One trying to cash in on one of those 280 carries.
Yeah, and it's so different than the Jinx meta that was so persistent in the last couple months. Draven obviously has the ability to get money really quickly. Not as great in the team fights, but he hits like a truck. If you're able to get him going early, you're able to get him going often, and it's difficult to stop him. On the other side of things, obviously, Sivir, great for wave clear, great for team fighting, and has that ability to pop people as well. So both of the ADCs we could end up seeing, some champions we're not going to be able to see, some top laners from TAB, Fiora and Riven being banned. And for Michigan, another ADC that we haven't really talked about, Ash. I'm a little surprised they dropped her.
Yeah, maybe it's she still has that flexibility factor to be a very early game, oriented menace. She also has also been rising in the meta a lot, just past her pure utility form with the crystallized enchanted arrow. Her crit path has become very, very prevalent. So it looks like the side of Michigan Esports wants to target that Ashe and get the utility out of the way. But I am a little surprised how heavily Team Ambition Black are going for top lane just duelist bans, as they actually took both Fiora and Riven away from Oris's, so that's certainly something to watch. But sometimes I'm a fortune predictor, a fortune teller. I've been it a couple of times, and it's no surprise here at Team Mission Black. They had Draven up, but they just elect to go for the higher scaling utility usage AD carry that is Sivir, and it's immediately answered by the Zeri.
And I like that pick. Draven, obviously good into Sivir, but I think we were completely underrating Zeri, especially when you put a Yumi on top of her, like Michigan Esports did. Zeri still has that ability to, advance the game 200 years and just blow things up. She's incredibly strong. Her W has found prevalence in the last couple of months, and it just is able to dominate in team fights. I would not be surprised, excuse me, to see it have such a important connotation in this game.
There's always been those champions bonfire across the, over a decade worth of seasons League of Legends has had that you are those coin champions. Oh, you can't nerf them. Like no matter what you do, they're still gonna be prevalent. A lot of them been top laners. Champions like Irelia scream out to me across multiple seasons. It's interesting to finally see an AD carry make that mark in my mind, and it's Zeri. I mean, 5 straight patches where you can argue she was nerfed or tweaked negatively in some form, and she's still being first picked in the grand finals of Divine League.
Yeah, I saw the Udyr, my eyebrows went up, and they're going up again. I would be very surprised to see an Udyr pick, and they lock it in. So Udyr's locked in, which is interesting. I think it's a response to the Poppy. Obviously, Poppy really good against champions with dashes. If you go Hecarim or someone else that is a very mobile jungler, that becomes difficult. Udyr, a really good tank, and Poppy really struggles against Udyr because she's negated very heavily. But at the same time, I mean, I haven't seen Udyr since like summer of 2021. Like it has been a minute since I've seen Udyr really hit the jungle meta.
It was really funny because obviously the changes to Udyr have been announced and the big tweaks that everybody's been waiting for that should be hitting Summoner's Rift in some time. But when they announced that, they also tweaked Udyr on a couple of patches as he's current solid state. So he's actually been being played a lot across a lot of these amateur scene leagues. In my opinion, I've seen him picked a lot because he's really just simple and straightforward, right? He's going to be that giant tank with a little bit of AP scaling behind him that can run at people, stun everyone up, and be a menace. And with a Zeri who's going to want to go forward with him and a Yumi to heal both of them up and make them unkillable, it works really, really well with the comp that Michigan Esports is putting together here. So I like the identity they have so far out the gate. And Poppy for Team Vision Black, they're going for a little bit of flexibility, right? I know I Am Sam has such a diverse champion pool up there for this squad, but you can argue to send that Poppy top lane with that giant hammer or give it a castle in the jungle. So a little bit of flexibility from Team Vision Black as we get through the second stage of bans.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the Poppy top. If Poppy does go top, I'd like to see the Trundle picked up for Team Ambition Black because the defenses that this Udyr is going to be building are going to be gigantic, and it just gets impossible to kill the Trundle. And it's a great jungle v jungle matchup. Switches up on Team Michigan, and we talked about this a little bit, but it gets difficult in these best of fives as Gangplank's picked up because everything turns into a counter. It's a mental game, so it's interesting to see which team can kind of tick off the other one first, can change the way they view these games and maybe give them a slight edge in the series.
Yeah, the Gangplank being locked in, this makes it a very, very pivotal point for Michigan Esports' comp from a team fight standpoint. For me, Bonfire, it screams out that this game is gonna have to revolve a lot around Duon. Now, I know we kind of breezed past both these two squads, but I know I have Team Vision Black as the 3-1 victors of this grand finals, but I think Duon is actually the best player in the Divine League right now. So I definitely think, oh, actually, yeah, this is actually not Duon for game one. I just realized that we just got told by Reduction. So I was hyping Duon up. He hopefully will be here later on, but it is going to be on the stand-in for Michigan Esports with this Udyr, because if you're going to pick a Gangplank Bonfire with a Zeri and a Yumi, not a lot of tankiness and not a lot of, general CC damage. I mean, obviously Yumi can create a lot of havoc there, but it's going to be on Udyr to be the giant frontline tank that can keep attention on him, or Team Vision Black may be able to just shred the rest of this team comp.
Yeah, and we just got word from production that Instant is going to be in for game one, but hopefully they will be back for a second, third, and if it goes to game five, because you talked about just been dominating in the Divine League. That's someone that we definitely want to see in the grand finals. Champions that Team Ambition Black want to see in the grand finals, Irelia and Galio. My concern is where's the damage for Team Ambition Black, but in terms of CC, they are not lacking at all. Got themselves the Nautilus, the Poppy, and the Galio. Michigan Esports throwing a bit of a curveball in the mix with the scaling department, and it is going to be the Cassidon as the final pick. We're off. We're off to the races.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a game one. I mean, Michigan Esports, if this game hits 35 minutes, even if they're down, I would wager like 5K gold There are certain items points with three of their champions in front of them that just mean if they hit that point at level 35, the game is in their favor so hard. I mean, Ziri, Gangplank, especially level 16 Kassadin, all with a Yumi scaling up for all three of those champions I just named. It's just unbelievable late game prowess. So Michigan Esports, they've put a big clock behind everything that Team Vision Black wants to get done. But I'm also a big fan of Team Vision Black's comp bonfire because Irelia and Sivir do a ton to cover the damage perspective especially in the AD department, and Nautilus and Galio work so well together with a bunch of CC, a bunch of really good peel ability, and then you throw a Poppy into the works. It's a ton of good crowd control. It's a ton of good back peeling, and it means it's gonna be on two players who have been able to perform very well all season long, especially playoffs long for Team Ambition Black, which is I Am Sam and All for One.
Yeah, quick question. I'm curious what you're going to answer to this. Galio, AP or tank?
Definitely hybrid. There's no way you can go a full
Hmm.
tank Galio here, but I also don't think you can go a full AP. You can certainly get some AP because Poppy and Nautilus are going to be very tanky and frontline prevalent. But with the rise of Demonic Embrace and some of these bruisery AP items that have made champions like Mordekaiser just such a high pick rate in the current meta, Galio can also take a couple of those items, get tanky, and still have the AP prowess. So I definitely think you're going to see Mark Boots go for a hybrid build here on Galio with the comp in front of him and around him.
I do have to say, talking about the cast and Maximus, bit of an interesting pick because obviously the laning for Caston tends to be difficult. Into a Galio, that might be one of the worst matchups, and it doesn't get easier in the late game. Galio obviously gets that shield against AP damage, which makes it difficult to burst him down. And whenever you go in, you obviously want to go in and hop out, avoid CC, but Galio can instant taunt, and then it gets very difficult for you to get the damage off. So Maximus just challenging Mark Boots and saying, you know what, I see your Galio, but I raise you that I'm better. It should be interesting to see on the other side of things, talking about the Galio. I agree with you that it is going to be a hybrid Galio, but man, there is not a lot of AP on the side of Team Ambition Black, and Michigan has an Udyr. So that Udyr can just kind of stack armor, and then it gets difficult to burst him down.
Yeah, they're honestly gonna have to somewhat, I don't want to say ignore the Udyr in team fights, but they're gonna have to play around him and just not, if they start focusing this Udyr is gonna be full armor like you talk about, it's gonna be nigh unkillable, and they're just gonna let a Zeri and a Gangplank throw free barrels and free shots at them. They can't do that. They have to find a way to jump onto the squishier members with how they've drafted. But to go back to the Kassadin versus Galio matchup, for Maximus. I like this pick because what Team Mission Black are going to want to do is once ultimates come online and we get to that later stage of the early game, you're going to see Mark Boots just try and roam and create plays with that ultimate. And Kassadin is one of the better picks to try and match him, right? Because you can get that Rift Walk and you can sort of tail Galio. Obviously, you can't follow him as fast as he rises into the sky and drops down in a bottom lane, but you can get down there quick enough to try and answer and at least keep pressure on other lanes of the map and not just be stuck farming waves while your team is getting 3v2'd, 4v2'd across the other lanes.
Yeah, and talking about Team Ambition Black, that Galio, I think it really lends the Galio pick to them because it makes side laning so difficult for the side of Michigan. That Galio pick, along with the speed of the Sivir, just makes it so difficult for Michigan to side lane this game, and that's really all they want to do with the Gangplank and with the Chalcedon. You just want to split to the side lanes and say, you know what? Fight us when it's one, 1 on 2, 1 on 3. Like we can take those fights. Chalcedon and Gangplank have those abilities to turn those. But for Team Ambition Black, they don't want those fair fights. They want to completely dogpile on top of these solo laners. So I like Team Ambition Black, excuse me, recognizing what Michigan wants to do in the late game and negating it.
Yeah, and the big takeaway before we get to game one here is the things to watch from these pure draft compositions. Team Vision Black, they need to have the early game. They need to push the early game agenda. They need to get to the mid game with a lead and even continue to press it. If they are not the aggressors, this comp is going to fail by the time late game comes around. So that's the big thing to watch. There's a giant ticking time bomb on Team Vision Black's comp because you do not want to deal with a level 16 Gangplank, Kassadin, and Zeri. It is nigh unstoppable to play against.
Player, you are very correct, but that is going to wrap us up here as we are about to head in to game one of the Divine League Grand Finals. Thank you for joining us and get ready for the beginning of the very end. We'll be back in a sec. Hello and welcome back to the Divine League Grand Finals. Game 1, we've got ourselves a fantastic matchup between Team Ambition Black and Michigan Esports. Sorry for the quick delay. One of the players in the game had a little difficulty loading in. It's Riot's client for you, but we're back. We're ready for the action. Both teams starting off with a pretty normal start.
Yeah, this is the fan start of all fan starts here. Not even any real aggressive warding. We do see that Soma was able to go out and place a ward down in the bottom river. But outside of that, it looks like both these junglers are going to have to use that big old brain that they're supposedly supposed to have this elo to track how Poppy and Udyr will go for clears.
I will say these guys do have some big brains. When I play, I feel like a bit dumber, but that's why they're playing and I'm casting, I think.
Yeah, I'm an AD carry main. Minions go burr, man. That's really all I really have to focus on. I feel like.
Yeah, man, I'm a support main, so I don't even
So
know
you just
what
get
goes
carried.
for. Yeah,
Yeah,
all right. And we're back in the game. Player had to
yeah.
get one last insult on me before Jesus Wept started clearing. Both junglers starting with the bot clear. Very interestingly, though, Castle 7 waving his team off, saying, I do not need it. I'm Poppy, not getting the leash. And that might throw Jesus Wept off because he sees that there's obviously All For One and Turk in the bot lane. So he might expect Castle 7 to be pathing botwards.
Oh, here we go, though.
Yeah, Turk getting that early aggression off on Instant. I'm surprised Instant did not expect it as we go to the top side as Oris's and I Am Sam going for a little trading. Oris's pushed up pretty
Oh
far.
my
I Am
God.
Sam feels comfortable. That's a lot of damage. Oris's is just dead. Oris's pushed up way too far. I Am Sam says this is the grand finals. I'm here to play. This is the first kill of the final game of the Divine League Summer Split.
I Am Sim isn't even rocking Ignite on Irelia top. That is a teleport Irelia top and just solo killed. Lethal tempo. I mean, you get enough auto attacks out. That I was gonna try and touch on it if we didn't have so much action, but Team Mission Black has two lanes where they need to be very aggressive early on, and inside 2 minutes, 2:30 bonfire, we've already seen both lanes flash how aggressive they want to play, and I Am Sam just got another one. What happened?
I think I Am Sam tower dived Oris's, but that is a disaster. I mean, that is maybe the worst thing that could ever happen for Oris's. Down 2 summoners, has to walk his way back. Top lane is completely over already at 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Oh my God, yeah, I Am Sam is just completely comfortable. This isn't going to be my live reaction to this, but it just looks like Oris has walked way too far up into the lane again, and he just kept slapping him. It's just Irelia lethal tempo. It's all you need. And
Wow.
man, Dornan's shield and a Dornan's blade now is able to crash a huge wave into the tower that is going to just stack right back into him when he goes for this buy, another longsword and boots. Team Ambition Black right out the gate. Wow, they are showing that they can not only play that early game comp, but I Am Sam is looking to take whatever finals MVP we're going to throw his way in game 1.
Yeah, it is a disaster in the top lane. I cannot overstate how bad it is. Not only did Oris's die once, he also lost both summoners. So if Oris's gets chunked out too much, there might be a tower dive, because he can't back, right? Like, no teleport, you're screwed, Castle 7. Also able to double crab. I mean, this is just turning on its face right now. Michigan Esports having the start from hell. Jesus Wept just not even able to walk in his own jungle as Mark Boots is trying to get some vision along with Castle 7.
Oh my God, they might stack up for a 4-man dive here. Just keep the early aggression going, but Udyr's here.
I feel about this one. They're going in right now.
Oh
Turk's
my
gonna get
God.
the first kill right now, but Mark Boots is going to get traded out, so it's only going to be a 1-for-1. Soma does end up getting it, so Yuumi gets the kill. As in the top lane, Oris is in a lot of trouble again. He attacks incredibly low, but he does not die. I Am Sam has the wherewithal to not push in too deep, but man, that just shows you how difficult this top lane is in the bot side. It turns out a 1-for-1.
Yeah, that actually was very advantageous to Michigan Esports. They came in 4 down there. The only sad part is, they do have Yuumi pick up an unassisted kill. But I Am Sam, oh boy, that's a triple barrel combo. Might want to get out of there. Kassadin is here. No Rift Walk, though.
Yeah, it does not have Rift Walk. I'm not sure if Maximus has the damage, just walks up to make sure that I Am Sam backs away. I Am Sam does not have teleport, so if Maximus or Oris's is able to push this, it can be advantageous. Neither of them are able to because Mark Boots is on that roam. Mark Boots might try to pick this one up. Doesn't have flash, so this might be difficult. Might also just try to push this wave, and Oris is able to dodge the early damage. Not entirely sure what Mark Boots wants to do. There's the taunt. Takes a shot for it. Just wants to get some damage off on Oris's. But in the top side, it doesn't look like there's a kill possibility. Mark Boots just trying to pick up what he can, and it does look like it is going to be a lane swap, as I Am Sam's going to go to the mid lane, and Mark Boots is going to go to the top lane.
Yeah, at first I thought it was Mark Boots just making sure that Orsis couldn't stack a freeze, but yeah, it looks like a full-on lane swap. But here we go. This is the stand-in. Jesus Wept is going to be, we talked about that Udyr is going to be such a volatile champion with the comp drafted by Michigan Esports, especially for team fighting, but it's good to see that prioritizing this first Drake, because as everyone can remember, the current patch we're on here, major buffs here to Dragon's standalone stats, so it makes the early Drake so much more valuable, and that will certainly help get Michigan Esports back into a little bit more of a comfortable position. It doesn't shift the gold away from 2,000 at 6 minutes, but to have that regenerative healing boosted up to now 9% is always helpful.
Castle 7 going for a possible steal right now. Jesus Wept is there. Castle just kind of looking over the wall, seeing what's popping. As Jesus Wept is taking a lot of damage, Castle does quite a bit of damage this early. I am Sam trying to help out. Jesus Wept is going to get slowed, but not pushed away. Just pushed away from his Raptors. Loses some farm, as Maximos can't really do anything this early. As Instant just continuously gets his farm pushed in under tower, but is doing a good job of farming it up, only down a little bit of CS. But across the board, this has just been a disastrous early game for Michigan Esports. We were aware that they were going to have to sack this early game due to their champions, but not to this extent, as it seems Mark Boots is back in the mid lane.
And we're seeing Team Ambition Black show in full view who they think is the most dangerous member of Michigan Esports right now, and it's Orsis. They fear this Gangplank the most. I mean, we saw a lane swap purely to make sure that Orsis couldn't stack up a farm wave, and we potentially could see a 3-man dive here on an 0-2 Gangplank. Here we go.
Yeah, Orsis is going to get pushed away. There's the ult to knock him up. It's as easy as you like it. Castle takes a little bit of damage, but man, that was a picture-perfect dive. They're able to get Orsis again. And Orsis, I don't know if you could be more out of the game this early.
Yeah, this is just getting absolutely brutal. I like the response here from Jesus Wept, recognizing, can't really make many other plays with topside. It's a complete wash. He's going to get a really good invade in here, get a red buff steal. Is farming better than this Poppy, but yeah, it's just an absolute nightmare for Orsis in the top lane. He's going to have to completely turtle, stay side laning for multiple valuable minutes in the mid game here to try and come back to some sort of relevancy. And the problem is that Team Ambition Black, they've done a pretty good job in their other lanes too. You see Mark Boots is up 11 CS right now, and Sivir is also dead even, but has an assist, and that's completely fine for the AD carry that scales harder than Zeri in the current meta.
Yeah, I will say it's also really bad for Michigan Esports that it's the Gangplank that gets behind. I'll have to stop that right now. All for One might be in a little bit of trouble. Does use the ultimate to try to get out. Jesus Wept just wants to chase, just wants to get the kill. The Bear trying to get the kill right now, pushing under the tower. There's the kill, able to walk himself away unless Turk is there. Unless Turk has something to say about it, and indeed he does, a 1-for-1, but that's the ADC down, and that tower's under siege.
Yeah, and the key thing there, Instant and Soma actually picked up an assist barely. I was actually surprised to see they grabbed an assist, so they both got an assist, they got a plate there. Bottom lane seems like it's got to be the priority for Michigan Esports here. You talked about how Instant is doing a very good job handling the waves under turret. Had about, I want to say at least four waves shoved under tower along with a dive, and has been able to CS very well, so top lane is a big wash right now, it feels like, and I would really like to see Jesus Wept and maybe even Maximos prioritize trying to get the Zeri and Yuumi going a bit more to have some sort of semblance in the mid game.
Yep, Castle 7 doing a really good job of recognizing that with the Udyr down there, just being able to get the Rift Herald. Also, the top lane is so completely lopsided that I think Castle probably would have been able to do that anyway, as Maximos takes quite a bit of damage from a Turk roam, has to back himself away. Markwood's doing an incredible job of negating the mid CS, excuse me. Orsis with a good dodge on I Am Sam, has to get himself away. I Am Sam does have the ultimate, but options not to use it, and Jesus Wept is going to make sure that Mark Boots doesn't get much more in the mid lane, although Castle 7 is there, and it does seem like indeed the Rift Herald is going to be dropped in the mid lane, and make sure that Mark Boots gets the first tower of the game. If he gets some damage off, it'll probably knock it down. That should probably do it. And indeed, it's going to get incredibly low. And one more hit. There it goes.
Just more of great objective play from Team Ambition Black. They all playoffs long have moved so well as a unit. It's unbelievable to watch. And here's the response, though.
Yeah, Turk is in a little bit of danger. A good flash to get himself away. Silence, but the kill is there, and it's going to go over to Zeri, and it's a shutdown as well. Turk had the 2 kills, so a huge shutdown already going over to Instant. Instant needed that with the CS difference. Jesus Wept has quietly played an incredible Udyr early game. It's just been overshadowed by Orsis getting killed many times.
Bonfire, that was such a heads-up play though from Jesus Wept. You actually flashed to make sure that Turk did not hook terrain, but hooked the Udyr to keep Nautilus in place to set up the kill. So a huge heads-up play, and it's even cashed in harder because, like you mentioned, instant grab that. So you're gonna see they catch Turk going, and here it is. Watch. Well, that's actually right after it happened. He flashed to block the hook, and that kept Nautilus close enough to the rest of the squad to give that kill over to Instant. That is a huge boost, and you're starting to see Michigan Esports. They're going to try and play through the Zeri. 92 CS might be on for a mythic item on this back with that Vampiric Scepter and Noonquiver to boot. It's going to be about the Zeri for Michigan Esports. Can they get Instant in the right spot to go absolutely ballistic?
Yeah, and the difficulty is Orsus is completely worthless in these team fights. So, I mean, you might have to sack a couple of drags if you're Michigan Esports, or just use Cannon Barrage as the, I mean, I would even say Cannon Barrage and keeping Orsus in the top lane is more effective than having Orsus in a team fight. They option for neither, as they just sacked this dragon, which seems like a pretty good idea. It is an Infernal Dragon, so a little bit more damage on that Sivir, which is never what you really want to see. Sivir doing a very good job of farming, keeping themselves still in this game. Maximos did lose the mid tower, but still feels comfortable enough to walk up to Mark Boots with that Rift Walk, just able to dash himself away. As the player gold shows, Mark Boots, the richest man in the game, due to the Rift Herald.
Yeah, high CS, he's also 110 CS server high. He's been playing flawless on the Galio.
Ooh,
all right, good
Jesus
job.
Wept. Might want to try to get something on Mark Boots, but options against it due to the fact that Castle 7 is there. But Instant has done an incredible job. Sorry, not to shift away from the Galio, but Instant's done a really good job of absorbing the pressure across the entire map and doing stuff with it. Obviously, right there, able to push in the mid lane. And in the top lane, Orus might get dove here. Does get stunned. No orange to be eaten. But Jesus Wept is there to cover. Castle 7 still posturing pretty aggressively. Wants to go in. A little bit of a standoff like you talked about. Jesus Wept is going to get stunned up along with the Galio ultimate. A great knockup. Knocks up two of them right now along with the taunt. Picturesque, as easy as you like it. Mark Boots takes a little bit of damage. Does not matter. I Am Sam cannot walk in right there, but it does not matter. The top lane dives are 2 for 2 this game, Slayer, as they pick up another. And Maximos might be in a little bit of danger. There's Rift Hawk to get himself away. Mark Boots takes a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough. The shield keeping him feeling pretty healthy. In the top lane, that's all they can do right now. Instant has to dash himself away. There's the knockup. All for one is trying to dash himself away. A good Yuumi ult to make sure the Turk takes a little bit of damage, but there's not enough damage to go around. And all they're finding is a lot of deaths in the top lane, and Instant with a lot of damage. But damage, not as good as deaths.
Man, I just can't. I'm still completely awestruck. Team Vision Black, these dives are nearly picture perfect deaths. Like, these are ones that I would see on a couple of the main stages across, pro level League of Legends. I mean, you think that Castle's just completely screwed with 0 health as Castle actually dodges out Instant, jumping over the wall there to set up something. But Castle takes 3 turret shots, a perfect flash away to set up Mark Boots' Galio's hero entrance. Gets a beautiful knockup. I mean, they tower dove a 2-man. Like, this is a 2-man turret dive. They're not diving just a very behind gangplank. This is a tanky-ish Jesus Wept. You see Vanguard's Edge comes out. Castle takes 3 of these shots, but flashes at just the perfect time to set up Hero's Entrance for a double knockup. Mark Boots has that Everfrost to lock the Udyr in place as well. And it's just completely flawless. Yeah, sure, Flash is burned, but for 2 kills, he'll take that any day of the week. And it's plays like that that have Team Vision Black 4,000 gold up as we approach the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, and this has been Team Ambition Black's whole MO. The entire split is just incredible team fighting, incredible team synergy. They've done a very, very good job of making sure that they're all connected, and they're doing it again.
The charm.
Poor Orus says, leave this man alone. He's had enough. I believe he gets taunted, he gets knocked up, and he dies. Mark Boots, you are a bad person, as Orus is having a bad time. 0-5, might be going for the 0-10 angle, as they're able to get the tower as well.
Yeah, he even had Flash, and he just had no avenue to use it because Galio is just such a freak with crowd control with that Everfrost. Quietly, Mark Boots also, we're talking about AP might be an issue. Obviously, went Everfrost, went for those Sork Boots to make sure the pen goes through. Also has 7 stacks of Dark Seal. So this Galio is going to start packing a punch still as well with that AP angle. And Team Vision Black, the real only fear here in my mind is the ticking time bomb like we talked about still, right? And the Zeri is farming very well. Instant is going to have to be flawless in my mind in these fights if Michigan Esports wants any sort of fight.
Yeah, Maximos might be in a little trouble right now, just getting CC'd up to hell and back, and he's going to die for it, I believe. Indeed he is. Turk is able to benefit. Turk quietly 3-1. I think that probably should have gone over to Mark Boots, but you're not mad about that. You get to kill the Kassadin, and you get the Rift Herald. It seems like everything's coming up black. Team Ambition black.
Yeah, I will say another silver lining. You see their XP per player graph, a beautiful graph as always, shows that Maximos is actually the highest with experience, and Kassadin is in that club, the 16 club I like to call it, Bonfire, of once I hit level 16, I become an absolute menace champion, with Kale obviously is another member of that one. So to see Maximos is up there with the very fed members of Team Mission Black in experience is a very good thing to see as well. So once that Kassadin hits level 16 and at least two items deep, he'll be just warping all over the Rift, very hard to lock down, and will be able to burst a Sivir and even an Irelia in certain instances.
Yeah, it does get difficult because, again, Michigan, I mean, there's no easier way to put it. They're in a 4v5. They do not have a top laner. Oris has been completely taken out of the game. I Am Sam trying to, Oris is trying to slow I Am Sam as Jesus Wept along with Instant, along with Soma are all here, but I Am Sam just clears the wave, so
There's
they don't
no
have a wave to play off of. Castle 7 doing a really good job to make sure they get something in the bot lane, and this feels disastrous. Keep an eye on the mid lane as well. All for One is making
Sam's
sure that
holding the wave.
I know, and Mark Boots is getting bot lane as well. This is a disaster. I Am Sam finally looks like it's about to go down, but to turn it and get a kill. Orsis dies again, so they do get the shutdown as Maximos, there they go, Maximos able to get all for one, and it turns positive for Michigan Esports. It looked like they were staying too long in the top lane, but patience is a virtue, and Michigan Esports is able to be patient and get themselves some kills.
All for One just can't. That's like the cardinal sin of AD carry play. You can't be pushing an inner turret by yourself. Like, that's the easiest punish in the game, no matter what level of league we're talking about. That play is completely in the favor of Team Mission Black if they just trade a 1-for-1. It is a shutdown on Irelia for these two turrets. But to give Maximos a kill does sway it pretty even. Being able to use that second bout of Shelly to crack an inner turret maybe makes the gold pretty even. But that play should have been giving a kill and an outer over for all of that other real estate. In the grand scheme of things, you see the giant blue mountain we're building here with the gold difference, but I still think that's a pretty big blunder from All for One.
Yeah, and the good thing is this isn't a best of one, so All for One might be punished for those later in the series, and it's interesting to know Maximos might look at that and be like, you know what, All for One is a little bit greedy possibly, you know, has a little bit of a death angle, and so this is stuff that is all important for later, you know, games. And it'll be interesting to see if these players on Michigan Esports internalize it, because right now, there's not a lot else to internalize other than we need to help our top line out a little bit more. Maximos just clearing waves in the top lane, but the game's not over. Michigan Esports still has an angle in which they win, which you have talked about very heavily.
Yeah, and I do want to mention the gamer item. One of the gamer items of League of Legends has hit the Rift. Mark Boots did upgrade the Dark Seal into a Medjai, so easily one of the most giving and punishing items is the Medjai Soul Stealer. We'll see if Mark Boots can stack it up, because like we talked about, is the real only AP threat, but Medjais can be punished just like Death Brushes.
Here's a fight, and already Maximos just instantly bursted down. Jesus Wept does get a trade already early on. Instant doing so much damage with the ultimate. Castle 7 taking a lot of damage. I Am Sam is going to make sure that fight does not go on any longer, but what looked good at the beginning turned out to be pretty even for the side of Team Ambition Black, and with this late in the game, even is not good enough. You need to be winning those pretty handily. Instant with a good dash, along with Flash to get himself away from Turk's Flash. But blue side is so strong. Team Ambition Black just pushing in. Horse is doing a good job of... I mean, look, that's all Orsis can do. That's all Orsis can do, so I respect Orsis just not being there and making sure that Orsis can get what Orsis can get. This Gangplank might get the entire tower here, though. Nobody matching him early enough, and that's kind of what you need. Orsis is able to get the first tower.
This is starting to feel like a momentum chip Bonfire. I mean, Orsis is able to take two huge bounty-filled turrets in the bottom lane, including an inner. The objective bounties are going to fall off. Orsis is a champion again. This Gangplank is to be feared, and is this the caster curse of him having to die? No way he gets this back off.
Do they see him? I Am Sam, is it? No way! Oh my goodness. Yarhar and a tiddly me.
I don't know. I don't know what you just said, but I know that Orsis just got saved. I mean, yeah,
that's because he's a pirate. It's because he's a pirate.
Yeah, I know, but I
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Fair enough. Regardless, Oris is getting away with that. This is a momentum shift, right? This is Michigan Esports. They've turtled for a while. Oris is going to be a viable option as a champion. I feel like we're dogging him a little bit too much now. Those cannon barrages are going to hurt at this point, and he is a split pushing threat like you just saw. So that's got to be in the back of the mind of Team Mission Black. But to go back to that fight for a second, Bonfire, that's exactly how Michigan Esports' Oris gets solo killed. Bottom lane.
All right, Oris has died.
Okay, well,
right.
Caster Curse is real, I guess, ladies and gentlemen.
But
if you ignore Instant and you try to knock down Jesus Wept, those fights are going to be very problematic. This Zeri packs a huge punch.
I liked Instant right there. Oh, bye-bye, Red Buff. I liked Instant. It's a quiet thing, but I like to point it out. Using the W on the bush to make it seem like they don't have vision. They don't have Jesus Wept there, which possibly puts in Castle 7's mind that they can push up. But, I mean, I like that. It's a good try. Maximus does not spot out the person in the brush. And the Red Buff's back, so Castle 7 gets to steal it. That Red Buff went for a trip, man.
Oh, this might just be dirty. Yeah, stun locked in Vanguard's Edge. I mean, Oris, there's not much you can do here, right? Even with a minion wave to land Irelia. So only 116 gold, by the way, for killing Orises at this point. That's brutal.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather have a cannon minion almost.
Mathematically, you would rather have Orises.
All right. But
I mean, it's close though. It's like 2 cannon minions, right? Or
yeah, I feel bad. I feel so bad for Orises. Orises, hey, look on the bright side, maybe they'll draft him something that can win early into Irelia next game. It just, League is a game of that early game matters so much. Jesus Wept also, we talked about how he's just gonna stack all armor, which is still a possibility. I'm not sure if Michigan want this fight, but realizing this now, Oris is going to fall before anything even begins. Oh, yes, he is, to the Baron. All for One's going to be the one who benefits from that Castle 7 with a good stun. Instant doing a lot of damage, pushing him off. Instant just doing so much damage. Marquis is going to have to go golden. Jesus Wept is going to die first. Turk getting low as well. All for One as well. They have to kill Instant. They realize that now, but everyone else is dead. Everyone else is gone. It's only Instant along with Soma. They have to push themselves away, but they can't fight Instant. Instant did so much damage on the back end of it, but no kills were given. 2 stopwatches burned. Instant just has to back away with Soma, and Team Ambition Black take a decisive win.
Well, apparently you don't have to kill Instant. But it only worked because they killed Orisis off the bat before he could do any work with the barrels, which do hurt now, by the way. And they were able to actually split Maximus, as you saw there. The Poppy was able to throw him into a wall and separate him. So Instant can still, you still can get away. It was close, though. You see these health bars are still pretty low, but the Zeri Yumi can kind of be ignored as objective values come back, but Bonfire, once the Zeri gets that 3rd item, which I assume will be an Infinity Edge, possibly with that pickaxe, you just cannot ignore the Zeri Yumi just free hitting. So I'm going to stress it because I know that it has to be something that is watched, because Zeri is just stupidly scary at this point in the meta.
Yeah, I do have to say, this game isn't over. We talked about it a little bit. It was 3,000 before, so I'd like to see a gold difference, or a gold graph, excuse me, if possible, just to see how that one fight kind of shifted things. Yeah, that gold difference. Yeah, I don't know if that's correct, by the way, at the 23-minute mark. I'm curious. The point I'm trying to make is this game is not as over as we think it is, because the scaling is going to come out.
They scale.
They do scale, but if that fight was to teach us something, it's that this game also isn't very close. Maximoff able to dash himself away from I Am Sam.
Yeah, not a lot of mana though, Maximus, and as you know with Rift Rocket, the more you use it in a short burst, the more mana it's going to cost you, but he's actually able to still walk out of the lane. But here we go.
Oris is run.
Tried and true, baby.
Oris is run. Oris is going to get rooted up. Jesus Wept is there for help. Oris is trying to run himself away, but now they're just turning. Now they're shifting their attention onto Jesus Wept, but Jesus Wept takes no damage. Jesus Wept is going to get smited to get himself alive, but now Instant's doing a lot of damage. Instant on the backside trying to go in for Castle 7 and Turk. Castle is going to get slowed up. No, he's not, but he's going to have to run away. There's Turk trying to go in on Jesus Wept. The ultimate from Galio. Going to knock him up. Now I Am Sam is here. I Am Sam the danger. I Am Sam trying to get him down. Instant trying to dash himself away. Time to survive. I Am Sam going in onto Instant. Instant trying to dash himself away. Trying to keep himself alive. The taunt is going to kill him, and he's going to die. And now the fight is good as dusted. Jesus Wept is going to die. Ors is doing what he can, but Ors says, you are still not that guy. You are still not a champion. They want to push in further. They want to go in. I Am Sam taking a lot of damage. He's going to get killed before anything starts. And now Markwoods is in a little bit of trouble. Markwoods is probably going to die. The Rift Hawk trying to keep him going. There might be the surprise there. Excuse me, not the surprise. The support. Castle 7 is going to get slowed. Castle trying to push him away. The Rift Hawk is going to kill him. The mana might not be be there, but he gets it back. Turk getting slowed as well. This might be a disaster. Maximus might be able to clean this one up. Turk is gonna die, and the only one living is Mark Boots. Mark Boots, you trapped your team. You left them to die. You're gonna get rooted, but you're gonna run. But all you're gonna find is nobody at the base. A decisive win for Michigan Esports as Maximoff cleans up the aisle.
They went too far. Team Ambition Black went too ham. They did not need to dive Orises for the 18 billionth time under that inner tower because Maximos had showed up just in the nick of time to punish them for it. They accomplished their goal, right? At first, that fight looked like, you know, oh, they committed the cardinal sin of trying to burst down Jesus Web with a mainly AD compromised team. They chased him around the Krugs. They tried to blow him up, but he was able to sneak his way out. An instant just blew up the Sivir, and they finally found a way onto Zeri when it really showed up. Yeah, I want to get a look at this fight because there's so much happening. Mark Boots and Oris is there dueling, and then look, this is them trying to blow up Udyr. They just can't kill him. He's just too tanky with 3 AD people trying to hit him. And an instant instantly blows up Sivir. So now this fight is looking like, oh my god, we ignored Zeri. Lightning Crash passive is just going brazy. We gotta run. Run for the hills, gentlemen. And then Hero's Endurance turns it. I Am Sam shows up. This Fed Irelia jumps right forward. Vanguard's Edge. You get instant locked up. You grab the Galio taunt. You accomplish the mission. You take down the one main threat of Michigan Esports. But then this is just too far. You don't need to dive Orises here. Your health bars are low. You're a split team here. The healing from Yuumi does just enough, and Maximus shows up to blow up I Am Sam. There's shutdown number 1. Mark Boots is now caught on the wrong side of the top of the map, and there's too many low health bars. Castle tries to go forward to go for the hero play, but now he has to run. He gets eviscerated.
He pushed himself away from Turk's hook as well.
Yep, and then Turk is now caught out after throwing his hook forward after the second shutdown's given over to Maximus, and here comes your third shutdown. That was like 2.3k gold given just to Maximus, and oh boy, Bonfire, I don't know if you saw that, but level 16 has been locked in for this Cassidy as well.
Yeah, this Cassidy is now a monster, and it didn't have to be that way. It was only instant, as we're going to go through a quick timeout. There might be a technical problem, but it gives us more than enough time to talk about how it was only instant that they had to worry about, but now you have to worry about the Cassidy, and suddenly this win condition gets so much more difficult. I'm nervous for the side of Team Ambition Black because look, it looked all done and dusted. I Am Sam up 100 CS onto Orises, but now what do you do? How do you win these fights? Who do you focus? Everyone's so difficult to pin down. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy at all because Yuumi with Final Chapter creates so much space in these team fights, especially from a disengage standpoint. And you have to worry about Jesus Weps Udyr, who is just a complete tank by this point, just stunning everybody he can see up in front of him with that bear form and the Phoenix form doing a bunch of AoE damage. You're going to have to find a way on top of the Zeri or catch Maximos off. That's how you win these fights. And like we talked about, Bonfire, I can't remember the minute point we're at right now off the top of my head, but we're nearing 30 minutes, and it's only gone down to now about a 3.5k gold lead. No, neither team is really close to... I mean, you have Team Vision Black who are close to a Cloud Drake Soul, so it's not even that valuable. They're really going to have to work in these fights, which is something they've shown they can do, but it could have been so much easier.
Yeah, 4,000 gold lead was 6,000. Obviously, they still have that gold lead, but at a certain point, gold lead doesn't matter when you're Maximos. You care about the XP so much more. And Maximos has done a good job of keeping himself with the XP, making sure that he's always one of the highest champions in the game. Jesus Web gets pushed away. Jesus Web is in the front line. They got Zeri as well. Instant's gonna die. Maximos is gonna get low. He's not able to fight anymore. Orsis is trying to get himself away. Jesus Web is gonna die too. They were able to knock away the front line, and nobody else is there. We talked about Doom. We talked about Gloom, but they're back and they're black. Team Ambition Black are able to get the decisive team fight win at the 28-minute mark, and Baron is the reward.
Wow, that could not have been more perfect. I mean, that hook from Turk looked like it took a bend around Jesus Web to hit Maximos. You immediately grab the Cassidy, who's the big dive threat, and you force Zanya's out of him. And then you're able to get that poppy wall slam onto Zeri to set up the Sivir. That is a flawlessly played fight, and it puts Team Vision Black very much back into the driver's seat. They'll grab Baron, and they might even kill Maximus.
Yeah, Maximos just pushed up way too far. I'm not really sure why he's there. Just a disaster. Seems like there's a bit of...
too.
That's a bit of tilt right there. I don't know why Maximos was there. Now they lose soul for it too, because look at the members of Michigan Esports. If they had Maximos there, maybe they could have contested, but they just have to sack it. And this game has gone from possible to impossible very, very quickly.
Yeah, 4K gold lead now up to about 9. But yeah, look at this fight, right? So you're seeing Maximus doing a lot of good work. He's creating distance from I Am Sam. He tries to lock him up. What a hook there from Turkey. Forced the Zanyas out of Kassadin. And here's Instant, right? He gets stunned up onto the wall. All for One is able to free hit the Zeri. One more toss of that axe kills off Zeri. Maximus has to run for the hills after Zanya Zing. And it's just easy pickings from that point forward. So beautiful play from Turk and Castle to set up this Team Ambition Black team to just run wild in the team fight. But oh boy, Turk.
They might have gotten Turk a good knockaway.
Well, they got Zeri again, though.
But they got Zeri. They got her already. Turk doesn't die early. Turk actually is the one who kills. He's the one who knocks. And now they're going in on Jesus Web. And this is the tilt that I talked about. Jesus Web has no reason for being there. You just have to turn tail and run away. But he's there. He feels angry. He's probably not thrilled that his team is down so much. And he is going to die. I Am Sam might check that bush, too. Just able to get away. But this game feels done and dusted, as a game can be.
They could honestly push here for a win. The death timers are pretty long-ish. I'm gonna assume that they might go for it. They took down the inhibitor. They don't have much of a wave. They could do the NA throw here if they try and dive this, to be honest with you, Bonfire.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Oruses and Maximos themselves have the wave clear. There's the cannon barrage going in already, but these turrets are getting so low. And Orusen just dies. Oruses dies again. I Am Sam's going to get Oruses. Instant's going to die as well. This game is over, ladies and gentlemen. A great first game from Team Ambition Black, showing us why they deserve to be here in the grand finals, and they take Game 1.
Wow, what a commanding Game 1 win. I mean, there are certain comps where you can play passive and comfortably get to a point of, you know, power spiking and taking that aggression, but the comp that Team Ambition Black drafted is just a very hard to execute comp where you have to be foot on the gas the entire time through early and mid game, and they did that except for a couple of blunders and maybe one or two of those fights. Outside of that, they were doing beautiful three-man dives onto the top lane. They were doing beautiful execution rotates to go for these neutral objectives. Got both Rift Heralds, only lost one early Drake. Team Ambition Black are continuing their Divine League playoffs dominance, and it puts them one game closer to that coveted championship.
I can't say I'm surprised. This is what we've seen from Team Ambition Black. This has been their MO all season long, and they're just executing it against one of the best teams Divine League, the best team that Divine League has to offer. Obviously, Michigan belongs in this spot as well, but Team Ambition Black has a funny way of making the best teams look like dirt, and they did it this game.
Wow, I can't believe All for One actually had highest damage in that game at nearly 27,500. The crazy part is, though, Mark Boots actually went full Glass Cannon Galio, actually got up to 25 stacks of Medjais for full AP build and nearly outdamaged everybody in the server, which is crazy to see. So Mark Boots, it's not easy to play Galio, a champion who likes to attract attention literally with a taunt, that squishy to perfection. So I've said it multiple times as we've gone through the Divine League. The great teams are the ones who can win and get advantages with multiple lanes. And Team Vision Black were doing that through arguably every lane, it seems, by the time we got to that mid-late game.
So it's back to the drawing board for Michigan Esports. They have to find a way to break Team Ambition Black's supposedly unbreakable shell. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Game 2 draft will be up. Don't leave. Hello and welcome back to the Divine League. We've got ourselves a fantastic grand finals where last game Team Ambition Black made this look like a regular season matchup, not a grand finals. Team Ambition Black has just been that good in the playoffs so far, showing why they deserve to be coming from the winners bracket, but I do not expect Michigan Esports to lay down quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that not only went undefeated in the regular season, but they've also climbed back from not great positions. I mean, they have that grit factor. They went to the losers bracket, and every time you win a series in losers bracket, you get grit points in the Slayer bank. So, Michigan Esports, they know how to play from behind, including in a game series. They even had some fight in that game that at points was a 8,000 to 9,000 gold lead for Team Vision Black that they brought all the way down to about 3. So, don't count them out just yet. We have 5 games in this series for a reason, and as we get into that game 2 draft, seems like pretty similar bands out the gate.
I'm curious how I get grid points from Slayer. Because I
You
want grip
don't.
points. I don't? Okay, that's
No.
fair. Well, I think how Michigan Esports gets grip points is by recognizing what didn't work and what worked very well against them and banning it out. And what they did was they banned out the Poppy. So good for them, recognizing that Poppy is very strong. Team Ambition Black with a lot of the same with the Sivir. Michigan Esports, not the same, going for the Jarvan along with the Renata Glask, and already big fan of the Michigan comp.
Yeah, I know how much you love Renata Glassick. You've been playing a lot of her. I mean, she in a lot of ways can do arguably everything you want from different supports. She's an enchanter, but in a lot of ways has tools that mirror the best engaged supports. So Renata Glassick is a very, very strong pick. It's made or broken by hostile takeover. So we'll see how Soma can use hostile takeover to completely swing fights. I love Jarvan as well as a champion. It's interesting because we talk about what didn't work for Michigan Esports. Bottom lane isn't really part of the discussion, right? Bonfire, I think we both thought that Instant and Soma played about as good of a game as they could with the given scenario. So it is interesting to me to see if they're going to completely switch the champion selections for these two. On the other side, though, Team Mission Black, it wasn't perfect for All For One. Got caught a little bit with that early mid game blunder, but quietly had the most damage ever again.
Yeah, and Silver's such a strong champion that even on the games where you're a little off, it still doesn't really matter. Because we talked about All For One didn't have the game of their career, but at the end of the day, you're just throwing those pizza pies and you're a pretty happy man. The Rakan to go along with it means that you're going to have the disengage of the century or the engage. Really, Rakan can kind of do both, and Lilia makes it easier. And I know you want to talk about. You can talk about it. Go for it.
Listen, I don't actually, you know, Bonfire. I don't actually play Draven. I
This
find
is
playing
true.
against Draven's very annoying. I don't like Draven. But game got to recognize great game, and Draven is the king of the bottom lane right now. I love this for Michigan Esports. Do not take instant off of a hyper carry 80 carry, and Instant is going to go to the Draven now, pair with the Renata Glassic. I think that's a very, very powerful duo, and Michigan Esports is saying, we are going to try and win this game through the bottom lane.
Yeah, and I mean, we can say it together, or I can just say it. Welcome to the League of Draven. Draven getting the first pick. I would be surprised if this was the last time we see him picked in this grand finals. We both talked about how good he is, and this is the first time we'll see him. But that doesn't mean no Zeri. So far we've seen either Zeri, Sivir, or Draven in every single game. I expect that to stay the same. Both of them are by far and away the best ADCs. We will not be seeing Seraphine, which I think is a very good ban from Michigan Esports. I'm curious what the comp is going to look like for them.
Yeah, there's a real couple of options. I mean, Mark Boots is just such a jack of all trades. He can play so many mid laners of so many different styles. I wouldn't be surprised if goes completely away from something like Galio, because he's got so much potential here. As we are going to see I Am Sam, who's been the duelist dominator of Divine League, go right back to Camille. And I guess shut up, Slayer. Mark Boots is going to rock Galio again. I mean, why not? He does so much for the mid game and late game if you can play him right. Got to rock the hero's interest again for one of the people that is trying to be the hero for Team Ambition's organization.
And it's just a fantastic combination, along with the Camille ultimate, just locks people inside the Thunderdome. And I have to say, along with the Jarvan ultimate, suddenly the Cataclysm becomes difficult for you to fight within. So it's a kind of really good of taking away that ultimate from Michigan Esports. Michigan with a bit of an interesting pick. I don't see a ton of volleys, but Volley Bear is always very strong in every single patch. Maybe not the top of the top, but never the bottom of the bottom. And right now, it's going to have to be what is going to win Michigan esports this game.
It's looking like Oris is trying to pick something where he can contest the dive in from the Camille, right? Can try and stun her up from that hook shot coming off the walls, maybe while going forward. And all I'm seeing is, you mentioned it, the classic line of "I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me" is what either Castle is going to be, or not Castle, is either what Mark Boots is going to be screaming at Michigan esports, or you're going to see Jesus Wept screaming at Team Mission Black with the Cataclysm. The big takeaway, there's so much AoE prowess in this game. It's unbelievable. I mean, Rakan's knockup is going to be in play. You talked about the Hextech Ultimatum that's going to be in play. Hero's Entrance is a huge AoE. Cataclysm's a huge AoE. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble from Zoe can turn into an AoE.
Not
Volley
all.
Bear Stormbringer is a huge circle. I'm trying to stick circular,
Oh,
or
we're
like,
going
or
circular.
geometric, or at least, right? Like the Camille.
Geometric.
Well,
That's a
because
word.
Hextech Ultimatum's not a circle, right? It's not a pentagon, a hexagon. It's a
It's a
hexagon,
hexagon. It's
and
definitely not
then
a pentagon.
yeah, it's definitely not a pentagon. But even Stormbringer, right, is a giant circular AOE slow and stun when he dives forward. So there's going to be a lot of big markers on the Rift for some of these ultimates, and we'll see who's the most fed of them all to make them hurt the most.
Yeah, and it's interesting you talked about that, right? Because as you were mentioning it, I started to think about, well, you have to, walk within the rift and dodge all of it. Who enjoys that a little bit more? Sivir. Draven is not going to have a good time trying to dodge past all of these volatile places to be. And so Sivir does have that spell shield, does have the ultimate, which makes her quicker, easier to dodge things. And so I think it becomes difficult for this Draven, for instant, to push the damage that Draven does. That being said, with Renata, it gets a lot easier. Renata just kind of sticks by Draven's side, makes sure that even if he dies, has that bailout to possibly get him, back into the fight. But it's difficult. I mean, it's really difficult as an ADC main, you have to admit, when there's just a lot of things you have to dodge. Lord help you, you know?
Yeah, there's just so many places that Team Mission Black can stun, sleep, or keep this Draven contained in an area. It's going to be very problematic, purely just because not only, like you mentioned, AD carry players don't like be putting in. It's getting put in a corner is a death sentence for a lot of them. But even Draven, because you gotta catch those axes, man. If you want to turn out a bunch of damage on Draven, you gotta keep kiting back and forth to the spots that you can grab those axes back over. So it's going to be very problematic. If there was any AD carry player in the Divine League that I think could stand up a test like this from Team Mission Black, it is Instant. I mean, the kiting we saw from Zeri was nearly perfect, except for those last couple of fights. So I think they're up for the challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless.
Yeah, and it becomes difficult as well because maybe you can dodge something from Lilia, maybe you can dodge something from Rakan. Galio's not really dodgeable, as much as he might try, that taunt is not something that you can just, you know, click away from. You have to really be out of that range, and like you talked about, when he's catching those X's, it just gets difficult. So Instant is going to be put under a lot of pressure, especially as the primary, damage dealer of the side of Michigan Esports. But they still do have Maximos on the Zoe, and Maximos showed us last game that if you give him an inch, he will take a mile.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Maximus was a key cog for the Storming comeback. I mean, their one big fight that they won, where they were able to punish the overextension from Team Mission Black, was Cassidon just riff walking into 3 huge shutdowns. So Zoe will give Maximus more room to be a threat in the early and mid game. Certainly can be a lot more pesky in the early game against Galio and punish him a lot more. So maybe we'll see a solo kill come out from there. I like the Zoe pick to that extent. Where I think it gets tough is a similarly the similar issues, that we have for Instant, right? Is that Zoe can get caught in a lot of these ultimates and blown up. Cassidon is a little more mobile with Rift Walk in the later fights, that he can get out of a lot of these ultimates. Zoe, if she doesn't keep her distance correctly, can just get completely blown up and stuck into that Hextech Ultimatum, knocked up by the hero's entrance, get stuck in one of these sleeps. Galio taunted, Rakan charmed, you name it. Zoe gets hit by one of those, it is wraps.
Yeah, offensive Michigan esports, it's not like Team Ambition Black can just walk at these They've drafted themselves a very, very good front to back comp with that Volibear, with that Jarvan. It gets volatile for Team. They wanna walk up and get to the back line and make it impossible for them to free hit, but how do you get past that volley bear when he's in his ultimate? He does a lot of damage. I mean, it's just quiet damage, and Horus has shown in the past in games, that he can be incredibly strong on a more tanky style. So, I think it gets difficult if you're Team Ambition Black because it's, "Yeah, I wanna get on that Draven. Yeah, I wanna get on that Zoe, but there's a big ice bear in front of me, and it will not move."
Yeah, it certainly won't. And as we are getting set to get into game two, we do have the summoner spells coming out. I think there are a couple things to point out, as you can see over there under Mr. Bonfire. I want to make sure it's weird to point, but I think I'm pointing at. I think I'm pointing at you.
Oh, I went the wrong way, yeah.
Under you over there, is
Yeah.
cleanse on instant, which is vital. Very. I was curious to see because a lot of Dravens like to rock the exhaust right now, because they're uber aggressive and they want to win every single early game exchange known to man, to fill their ego. And by ego, I mean the passive of Draven. But to rock cleanse against this matchup, you had to go cleanse. So I'd like to see that from instant.
Yeah. Definitely all for one with the exhaust. So that can just be dropped onto instant, and instant doesn't have any damage. All of this stacks up for a fantastic game two. Either way, whoever team wins, we are going to a game three. After that, it is decided if there will be a champion or if there will be more games played. But all of that hinges on this game two. Do not go anywhere if you want to watch both these teams battle for one of the last times in Divine League Summer. Excuse me. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Divine League. Apologies before we start. I seem to be experiencing a little bit of lag, so if I turn into a robot, I promise I'm fine and I am still in my human form. On that note, we've got ourselves a fantastic game too between these two teams. Slayer, take it away.
Yep, it looks like we're going to a little bit of an unfriendly fan start, Maximos. Early damage over to the Zoe here. No sort of first strike to grab that gold, rocking electrocute, so just a bit of early trading. Jesus Wept utilizing the flag to get an early ward down, and it looks like it's just going to be simple river wardage once again here. Did I jinx it? Yep, I did, because over on the bot side, Turk actually got, I believe, a ward that will spot the blue buff. So good job by Turk. Yep, it should be able to track Jesus Wept's path. That's a little bit of a mouthful, but I do want to take a look. It doesn't seem like there's any real summoners that stand out here. Lethal Tempo rocking for Draven, Conqueror on Jarvan, Grasp on Orsis. I was curious to see what he would rock, because obviously AP volley isn't really a thing anymore. Bonfire, it looks like it's just going to be Orus's maybe trying to be a bit more of a tanky volley bear threat with some AD on the back. It'll be interesting to track how that build path goes for Orus's.
Yeah, both of these teams trying to make sure that they can secure themselves that really, vital advantage in that game 3. And now both of these junglers are starting very interesting. Both of them with one of them with no leash. I seem to forget that Jesus Web did get that leash from the top laner of Orus's, but again, Castle 7, just Giga Chad, don't need a leash, just let me let me do my thing. And it's such a question mark for Michigan Esports when both sides are not leashing. You really have no information on where they can be. Jesus Wept already pushing into the bot lane for a possible dive. When you have that damage on instant, why not? Notices that there's no more waves.
Level
it should
2.
be awards. Jesus Wept pushing up already. All for one and Perk might have to fash themselves away. All for one running away already. There's going to be the good pull from Soma, and All for one's just going to die before anything can even start. Instantly catching in on the Draven bonus. Turk might be a bit of danger now as well if they want to redive this. Both level 2, but Turk is as well. They just want to clear out some waves, so it's just the first blood. But first blood is good for Michigan Esports, because if you remember in last game, they lost that one pretty badly.
It's the League of Draven. It's the game 2 of Instance Draven. Already has a kill. The only downside, I guess, is that Instant hasn't been able to farm up terribly high to get the admiration stacks. But yeah, wow. Exactly what you need to give Draven. He's just all about funneling all the gold you could possibly give him early game, throwing all the axes early. I love that path from Jesus Wept. He literally took red buff and walked all the way down to the bot blue side turret for a dive. What a call. And Michigan Esports, like I said they were from draft, are saying we are playing this game to win through the bot side.
You talked about it in the draft instance. That guy Orsus is taking a little bit of damage, just pushing up even further. Does not have jungle assistance, but feels comfortable in that wave to push it in. Orsus last game did that and turned out pretty disastrous, but knows Volibear a little bit more and is able to do that.
Yeah, Volibear, he was able to hit a level up and wanted to shove the wave in. He knew he was going to go for a straight back off of that, so he gambled correctly. This is I Am Sam rocking a Camille without Ignite. Oh boy, Castle!
Yeah, Soma pushes Castle inwards, but that might have all been a bait for Maximals to go in along with Jesus Wept. There's the Ignite onto Castle. There's not the knockup, and now it's being turned around, and now Maximals is in a load of trouble. The good double flash, but that's not nearly going to be enough with Castle there, and it's going to be a double kill from Mark Boots. This Galio has been an absolute golem for both games, gets the double kill, and Disaster is back on the menu for Michigan early game.
How is Castle able to just like 2v1 fight by himself and do that much? I'm stunned that Castle had turned out that much damage on early game Lilia. Just absolutely eviscerates Soma and is able to juke around enough around Jesus Web, forces a couple of flashes, and Turk shows up just in time, and Mark Boots cashes another 2 kills on his patented, what I can assume is very glass cannon heavy Galio. Man, oh man. Castle just completely threw the game back over to Team Vision Black's side and set Galio up very well against a lane where he was going to be just bombarded by projectiles and in threat for a solo death of his own. Now sitting very comfortable. Castle is showing why he wants to be the best jungler of the Divine League.
Yeah, and a bit of a misplay there from Soma. Thought that Jesus Wept was there a little bit earlier, so it pulled Castle inwards, but that just pulled Castle, or that pulled Castle directly into the range of Q into Soma, and so Soma just instantly burned. I Am Sam might be in a little difficulty, but Castle 7 is
Ooh.
there as well, and we've seen Castle be incredibly strong. Misses the bowling ball. There's the knockup onto I Am Sam, and I Am Sam has to flash away, but it might not be enough. The damage coming in from
Oh.
Maximus, the sleep isn't going to find anyone, and now it might be difficult, but Oris flashes in to get it. Jesus Wept getting incredibly low. Castle fighting on two fronts, tries to get it. There's a great knockup from Jesus Wept, but it's just not enough damage. Mark Boots is here though, but I don't know if Mark Boots has the damage, and so Mark Boots has to disengage, so it ends up being a 1-for-1, a top laner for the jungler, and the teleport has to be used from I Am Sam to make sure that this wave doesn't go for naught.
That should have been so much worse for Team Ambition Black, but some really fancy footwork from Castle and Mark Boots there to dodge out on anything that Maximus threw out. There was a beautiful leaping, leap forward with that staff from Lilia. I believe that's the W to leap forward and slant ground and pound. You can correct me if I'm wrong, a second bonfire, but dodged the complete sleepy bubble, trouble bubble, and Mark Boots was able to sidestep that paddle star. So they didn't take any damage from Zoe, and it was a very, very key aspect there to make sure that was a 1-for-1. And now you're looking at two AP juggernauts for Team Ambition Black with 2-0 Lilia and Galio.
Yeah, I will say quietly though, with all of this pressure in the mid and in the top lane, Instant is getting so much further ahead on All For One than All For One would like. Yeah, you have to sack a little bit when you're, the Sivir going into a Draven, but not this much, not nearly this much, and it's going to turn out to be Dragons for the side of Michigan Esports.
Team Ambition Black have shown in Game 1, if anything, they are comfortable leaving All For One on an island, totally comfortable turtling into and playing the weak side, and it worked out really well in Game 1. And in Game 2, they do have a slight gold lead purely based off the fact that they've set up their jungle and mid for success. Good on Jesus Wept to repeat for first Drake again, now 2 for 2 in that aspect. And Mountain Drake is certainly, obviously, a very valuable soul, but it's also very valuable on its current base stats with those buffs we talked about for the patch, the most recent patch. And we'll see if they can actually stack them together this time, because after they grabbed the first Drake of Game 1, they lost the next 4.
Jesus Wept does have to be careful as Castle has Turk alongside him. I don't know if he knows that Jesus Wept is there. Now he realizes Jesus Wept does not have Smite and just gets it taken away from him. There's the Drowsy along with the Sleep, along with the knockup. Jesus Wept is just dead before anything else can begin. When you die in your own jungle at 8 minutes, you are not happy, and Jesus Wept is just weeping himself. As in the top lane, now they're going in on Oris's. There's the lockup that I talked about. Oris's gets knocked up, but a good ultimate to go unstoppable, but it does not matter when you are 4 strong in the top lane and 2 kills going over to Team Ambition Black, showing that they are the superior Divine League team when it comes to cross-mapping.
What a sneaky, annoying duo that Lilia and Rakan are when rolling together, because Lilia is just so hard to lock down, and Rakan is so shifty with a teammate present. The knockups, the sleeps, the charms later on. Turk wasn't even level 6. The quickness isn't even available. That's a really hard duo to try and lock down, and they have so much CC. As we flash back here, All For One, once again, he's wholly comfortable with this, right? It sucks playing this way. Backing off your own turret, having to force your way forward for any sort of CS, but you see the XP bar and the gold graph for some of these players of Team Mission Black as well. They have gotten advantages in their other solo lanes, and especially with their junglers. So this is just the game they are content playing, and All For One is totally fine waiting for their time to shine.
And they've just pulled Jesus Wept completely out of the game. I mean, he has 28 CS, and he's 0 for 3. This Jarvan will do nothing in these fights. Luckily, it's Jarvan. It was a lot worse when it was the Gangplank last game on Oris's. But even so, it's just so bad if you're the side of Michigan Esports that's supposed to be your front line. That front line is just going to crumble in these team fights, so they're going to have to rely a lot more on Oris's, who's done, credit to Oris's, a really good job of staying away from the damage of I Am Sam, getting themselves a little bit of an advantage in the farm. But mid lane CS and jungle CS, along with kills and assists, are a disaster for Michigan.
Yeah, the one you allude to it, the one bright spot for having Jesus Wept very far behind is that Jarvan has a bunch of utility where he's still useful purely from his kit, so he still has a bunch of knockups to throw around. He's got a slow, he's got the Cataclysm that he can lean on, but no real damage will be coming out from this Jarvan. Jesus Wept will just have to transition into an engage bot, and we'll see how the build path is affected by that as they seemingly are stacking up for a potential 3-man play. But once again, I Am Sam is word to the wiser and full of Dr. Seuss rhymes, I'm sure, and is going to back right out of there.
I do like that from the side of Michigan Esports, doing a fantastic job as they pull in Turk. Turk doesn't have a teammate, but he is able to W himself away and is able to survive. I do like pulling the bot lane into the top lane as they are now pushing for a possible Rift Herald. But again, Team Ambition Black, I hate to just constantly repeat my words here, it's just so good across the map at recognizing, and they are able to pull I Am Sam into the bot lane. They realize what's happening, they're word to the wise, and they're able to get what they need in the mid lane and the top lane to contest this. But will it be a successful contest? Right now, Mark Boots is doing a really good job at making sure Maximus can't put a sleepy trouble bubble, as Jesus Wet might want to go in here, might want to get the knockup and steal it away. There's a double knockup. The charm is going to go in, the sleep, excuse me, on Instant. Instant's going to die, the Bail is going to come out, but not enough. And now Soma has to run, and now Jesus Wept has to run, Maximus has to run as well. Everybody has to run. There's going to be a double kill for Castle, and Jesus Wept, you are so dead, my friend. A good sleep from the side of Maximus, and now Lilia might have pushed up too far. Indeed, he did. A knockup and a kill. A great shutdown for Maximus. A 4-1 and 4 Lilia now dead, but the Rift Herald goes over to Michigan. I Am Sam getting so much in the bot lane as the Volley Bear had to roam up. So much going on at the end of the day. Rift Herald to Michigan, 2 kills to Team Ambition Black, and another one possibly as Jesus Web is now fighting the support and Turk. The shield is coming out. Turk has to be careful. Might not realize that more people are here. It's going to get slept as well. It's going to get killed, but so is Maximus. Maximus is going to die on the back end of it, but all for one, and Mark Boots might be pushed up too far. A great knockback on Mark Boots. Exhaust onto Instant might make it where Mark Boots not be able to do it. Jesus Web might be pushed up too far. Indeed, he is. Just gives his life to make sure that Instant can get the kill, but the shutdown is good onto Instant. Instant now 3-1 and 1. Now Orsus has to back up on I Am Sam. I Am Sam wants to keep pushing this. He wants to use the ultimate to make sure that Orsus can't do anything, but it is a minion wave. I Am Sam taking a lot of damage, but Orsus is taking more. This bear has to run, trying to make sure that he can kite it out. There's the ultimate to make sure that he doesn't get stunned. Now wants to fight back. The shield is going to come out, but I Am Sam has so much more damage than Orsus. The healing, indeed, like you talked about. I Am Sam isn't able to find the kill. I don't know the kill numbers because it was so haywire. But at the end of the day, both teams feel pretty comfortable with how it went. And at the end of the day, it's Team Ambition Black with the lead.
I want to say it was 3-2 in favor of Team Mission Black, but the big takeaway, you can see it on the player goal now, is that Instant was able to cash in huge on the admiration stacks on the kill against Turk, and was able to grab the shutdown kill on to Mark Boots. So this Draven, who had a really good first blood, then became pretty quiet, actually died at that Rift Herald fight, cashed in huge. Instant is going to be such a volatile ADG carry right now in the mid game going forward off those kills. Has that Essence Reaver, should have a very hardy back if we take a look at his gold. If we take a look at the Klein side gold, I'm pretty sure has a lot that he's sitting on. Actually, no, he just cashed in. So, but he is going to be a really strong AD carry going forward here, and you can see the pressure he demands with Jesus Web coming over. Is, oh my God, what a response. Yeah. Castle just continuing to reap kills. 9 of 11 KP in this game at 13 minutes.
Yeah, but Instant on the bot side is doing a really good job to make sure that doesn't turn out for nothing. The entire plates all going over to Instant in the bot lane. Instant, an absolute monster, just commanding so much more respect. And the thing is, Mark Boots was one of the more fed members as we go to a quick replay.
Oh yeah, so here we go. Orsus just caught a little too far forward, and with Castle's help, I Am Sam, they can mitigate the healing, so that's kind of reminiscent, Bonfire, of Game 1. Castle and I Am Sam just punishing Orsus, but this time it's not an 0-7 Gangplank. It is a very valuable kill onto Orsus' Volley Bear, and they're able to even up the turrets. But like we talked about, these great teams don't respond on the other side of the map, and here we go.
Oh, Jesus Wept is going to die. The clearest part is
way.
Mark Boots, excuse me, does Instant have enough damage? No, he doesn't. A great job from Mark Boots to recognize his own health, his own damage, gets the kill, gets himself away. I'm not trapped in here I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. And then he said, I'm not trapped in here at all, as Maximus is going to try to catch that wave. Mark Boots just done an incredible job this whole series in these last 2 games to recognize his champion. And I think it's safe to say he's the best Galio we've seen in this league.
Yeah, certainly best Galio Divine League so far. Is all for one. Oh, what a selfless play from the AD carry player. That is gonna. Oh, no way. Oh,
Oh!
criminal! I just had I had a voice crack for that one. All for one.
Where's
With
where's
the
Whirling Death? No, Whirling Death is
no.
not gonna find him. That was close there for a second.
Yeah, that got close. That forced a voice crack out of out of me. That was very, very close, but yeah,
It's okay.
what a selfless
It's
play. How
pretty
many times
hard for
how
everyone.
Yeah, right. How many times do you think I would stand in front of a paddle star for you if I was your AD carry, Bonfire? I'll tell
never.
you, 0 out of 0 times.
Yeah, that's understandable. As suddenly now they're going in on Castle. Castle's just gonna die before anything even starts. Soma with a great pickup to make sure that Instant can get it. And Instant is gigantic. I don't even know if the English dictionary can describe how big Instant is right now.
Yeah, definitely has enough gold now to cash in on a big lethality item. As I Am Sam might try to get the shutdown though.
Oh, I Am Sam does so much damage. Instant just locked up. Instant just dies before anything he can even start. And Jesus Wept is going to be just the dessert on the topping that was Instant. Yeah, the bailout's good, but it is not nearly good enough. A nice double kill from I Am Sam, just hiding in the brush knowing that Instant is going to walk up and just going to cash in. It's a lot of gold going over for I Am Sam.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of gold put into this Camille's pocket. Who, you know, Irelia is, you know, Irelia and Camille are similar in a lot of aspects, right? Bonfire, very heavy duelists, very squishy AD builds. They go for more. They just like to do a ton of damage and absolutely wreck fights. But the difference between Camille and Irelia is a decent split pusher, but she really thrives being able to pop Vanguard's Edge onto 4 and jump onto backlines. I feel like Camille is completely content at just being top or bot the entire game and is much more of a split push threat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see I Am Sam just relinquish themselves to those side lanes with that extra gold and require at least 2 people to answer for those split pushes. We get a look at the gold difference. Not as much of a mountain, but it's still all blue so far, 17 minutes into Game 2 of this Grand Finals.
Yeah, it's a lot closer than it was last game, but the biggest difference is that the scaling is not as crazy to the side of Michigan Esports as it was last game. So Michigan can't really just sit on their butt and wait for their power spikes. They have to make something happen. And now it looks like they're trying to do so, trying to get some vision in the enemy jungle. Maybe pick off Mark Boots, excuse me, on a rotation, but it doesn't look like they're going to find anything, as Jesus Wept is just going to have to settle for Krugs.
Yep, and I do want to point out this game a lot more valuable in the soul department, right? We have a Hextech soul, which is probably, if in my power rankings of the current Drakes, I would put it number 2 compared to Cloud Drake, which is dead last for me. So they have 2 Drakes in their back pocket. They're still down 2,500 gold ish. But those Drakes are going to be so much more valuable. They're going to transcend that gold value and makes this game a lot closer. So Team Mission Black, they're going to have to be hard-pressed to try and stop the stack. And that stack is partly why you saw that bot lane play from Michigan Esports trying to get a pick, because they've been playing the whole game through bot lane. 4-2 instant. The high man for Michigan Esports, the high damage AD carry. They've played for Drakes. They're all about the bot side of the map, and a whole Hextech Soul can make sure they could go for the Nexus through the bottom lane if they wanted to.
Soma trying to find something. This looked like a team fight. A really good Sleepy Trouble Bubble from Maximus is going to get blocked by I Am Sam. Is there anything else to be found? They don't have Mark Boots here, but they do have his ultimate on the back end of it. With the Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, right now it's Michigan trying to clear the wave, trying to inch themselves forward into that jungle, trying to get themselves in the river. But right now, all they're finding is a wall. It's the wall of I Am Sam. It's the damage. That castle can push out along with the sleep. They can't find anything. Maximus trying to find Perk, but can't find it. This wave clear from the Sivir as well is so volatile. It's so difficult. We are A-ramming like you talked about. The sleep isn't going to be found on instant. A good dodge from him, but they're just getting pushed back. Slowly, they're losing their footing. They're not able to find anything, and the river's just going to be given up to Team Ambition Black.
Great job letting Mark Boots stay bottom lane, grab the outer, but also shove that wave in. They shoved the mid wave in. They showed enough of a force to set themselves up to grab the first Hextech rake. Beautiful macro play. It seems like nothing happened, but just so many little things to set themselves up well to stop the dragon stack and even get Maximus' flash out there, and they should allow Shelly to crash onto the inner tower.
Yeah, Maximus is just alone right here. Doesn't have anybody on the team. All for one Turk and Mark Boots. Just making sure that Maximus can't do anything. They're not able to get everything. Indeed they are. Actually, I take that back, as All for One's just able to knock it down. And they're able to get the bottom jungle. So it's so profitable for Team Ambition Black, and it boosts them from what was 2,000 to what is now 4,000 gold difference.
Team Ambition Black said, Slayer, you think Michigan Esports is playing to the bot side of the map. How about I raise you a couple? They knocked down the bot inner turret. They grabbed the first Hextech Drake, which, like I said, does have good stats on its own, as it gives you attack speed and ability haste. So it's going to apply really, very well at about 9%, I believe. 8 or 9%, if I'm wrong. Somebody can quote me on that, but it's been boosted up. So Hextech Drake on its own is very valuable. The Soul's very valuable, and Team Ambition Black are doing what they've done all season long, and it's dominating the neutral objective macro game.
They've done such an unbelievable job just across the map, doing everything they need to do, making sure that, I mean, really, Michigan Esports cannot find their footing within them.
Yeah, they are not comfortable right now. You're seeing Jesus Wept is going back to scouting brush. A couple of the brushes with that flag. You saw the fog of war. The only vision they really have is the back of Baron Pit right now. And this is an underrated part of Team Mission Black's comp, right? They have a lot of great ultimates for team fighting, but they can realistically threaten every one of these lanes because you have Mark Boots here, who might actually get caught out, though.
Yeah, Mark Boots gets slowed. Maximos has to be careful, realizes that, trying to push himself away. Great knock-up from Jesus Web. There's a great Cataclysm as well, and a huge shutdown. I feel like every time we see Instant, there's a huge shutdown, but in the bot side, there might be another kill, as Oruses just cannot split lane against I Am Sam. I Am Sam making an early case for player of this series, doing a fantastic job in everything that's been thrown his way.
Yeah, great job, though, from Jesus Wept. No hesitation to punish Mark Boots, who's been very hard to kill so far series long. I believe only has 3 deaths across about 50 minutes of server time. So, good job catch there. And like you said, got the gold onto Instant, who is stacking towards that third item, a tank-busting item. Maybe is a Shirelia's, I assume, will be going for to break through to some of these more tanky members. Maybe not. But yeah, what we saw there at the end, Team Mission Black grabbing that solo kill through I Am Sam is what I want to talk about. They can realistically 1-3-1 and threaten in this to Siege, right? Because you can send Mark Boots to one of those lanes. He has Unleashed Teleport and Hero's Entrance. And then you have Camille with Teleport, who's a split-pushing monster right now. They can dictate the entirety of every wave on the map right now with a 1-3-1 setup, all while still having such great team fighting with ultimates like the quickness from Rakan, Hero's Entrance, Hextech Ultimatum, and Lilting Lullaby.
Ooh, Oruses has to be careful. I think at any point you're going against Mark Boots or I Am Sam, there's obviously the imminent danger that there's a collapse. Both of them have really good CC to lock you up. But a lot of the focus is still on Instant, making sure that Instant can't do what Instant wants to do, and making sure that Instant has to stay in the mid lane, as now it seems like the call for Team Ambition Black is the Baron. The curious part is...
spotted them, though.
Yeah, they did spot them, and so a really good counterpunch from Michigan Esports. I was interested to see if Team Ambition Black wanted to try to turn, but they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel like it's late enough in the game where they have the damage, and they were just going to get chunked out way too much by the Baron, so they call it off.
But here we go. Flank from I Am Sam. Here's going to be the one fight. They're going right for Instant, too.
Yeah, Instant gets charmed, Instant gets killed, and Turk is doing even more than that's asked of him. Soma with a really good Berserk, but it's not going to be nearly enough with the Draven down. It's just free pickings for the entirety of Team Ambition Black. Jesus Wept is trying to keep everyone alive. A really good job of getting out there for the beginning, but Maximos has to be careful. A good sleep onto Oruses, but I don't think they can find him. Right now it's Maximos and Jesus Wept who are both going to die. Castle, like you talked about, doing a fantastic job this game. Oruses with a good amount of healing. Now wants to find the fight back onto Castle. There's a good amount of damage, and Castle's going to die for pushing up too far, I believe.
Hit the post.
Help. Nope, he dies. The post was found, but the life was not. All for One and Turk are the only ones pushing in the bot lane. But all for all, a fantastic push. Ors is flashing forward.
Oh my
Does
God.
have the help of Instant, and now they want to keep pushing. Now they want to find the counter punch. Can they find it? Instant. There's the Whirling Death. Can it knock him down low enough? No, it cannot. But Draven is back, like you talked about. Ors has stayed alive long enough. Turk gets slowed, and Soma's here now too. They want to burst down Soma before anything starts, but Instant's there. Orsis is going to fall, or he might not, as Mark Boots goes gold, and Orsis just runs himself away. Mark Boots, you are dead. A triple kill for Instant. What looked like golden opportunity for Team Ambition Black just turns totally neutral in terms of kills, and they lose the dragon.
What a swing there. It's once again, it's the second game in a row. Team Vision Black, they overextend for kills. You just did not have to go chase the volley bear
Whoa.
forward if you are a castle. If you
Look
are
at
the
Instant's
bottom lane.
gold.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts, but it's nuts. But also you didn't have to have Sivir and Rakan trying to shove in an extra wave onto the inhibitor turret. You had a massive fight when you just have to reset, and now Instant's an absolute monster. You have bad death timers. You give up Soul Point, and now you might even lose Drake.
Oh, they go in on Castle, a great Cataclysm. He goes golden to keep himself alive. There goes, Maxos before anything starts. Now Jesus Web goes golden. Castle still alive, and no, everyone's falling. The Draven falls, and they find that Baron is not nearly good enough. Everyone dies. It's going to be the ace for the side of Team Ambition Black. Whenever there's a counter punch for Michigan Esports, Team Ambition Black remembers who they are. They get the ace, they get the Baron, and they are pushing themselves to a possible Grand Finals win.
You thought Team Mission Black was overzealous diving the red side base. Well, Michigan Esports just went up them, going for a Baron with all 5 members of Team Mission Black up and Hextech gates. They had no business trying to punch back with that Baron. Sure, they got a bunch of gold back, but they didn't cash any of it in yet. Draven had run from bottom lane of his triple kill to the Baron, and I want to see that fight back as the siege starts. I think we're going to see resets because Castle just had one of the most clutch Zanya lilting lullabies there that saved that initial fight. The Baron was going down and was able to turn it around beautifully and set up a lilting lullaby to make sure that they did not get jumped on and was able to do a ton of damage. We'll see it here. First of all, you can see all 5 members of Team Vision Black are up. I am Sam. Beautiful flank with the Hextech Drake, and Castle's here. And the call goes, we're going to turn. Flat, drag and drag forward on Jesus Wept. A bunch of members jump him, but he gets the lilting lullaby and he Zanya's. And he does just enough stalling for I Am Sam to jump over and jump on to both Maximos and Instant. This Camille is too fed to be left alone and blows up both the carries. All for One shows up, Mark Boots Hero's entrance. It was just perfectly synced up, and it was set up by Castle, deflecting the initial onslaught from Jesus Wept. And now, in a blink of an eye, we saw a swing of, I want to say, at least 8,000 gold both ways. But Team Mission Black are comfortably back in the driver's seat. I mean, yeah, look at that divot. That one fight actually put Michigan Esports back in the driver's seat, and they're going for it again.
Jesus Web might not have the damage that he wants, though. The bailout's not nearly good enough. Instant's just getting dived on the backline from I Am Sam again, and he dies. Instant can't do anything in these team fights, and Maximals just has to watch himself die. Watch the rest of his team die as well. Another ace. Instant just getting focused out from I Am Sam, and I think you're right. Slayer, I think you're right. I think that is game. Team Ambition Black, 30-10 in kills in the first game. At the moment, 29-11 in kills. These games have been close at certain points, but Team Ambition Black have never looked like they're fighting upwards. It always looks like Michigan Esports is fighting upwards. Team Ambition Black proving they deserve to be here, proving why they're here, and winning a decisive game 2.
Wow, yeah. And once again, I mean, to go back to that last fight, I'd actually like to take a look at it. But first of all, Team Mission Black, once again, very, very well played early game. It got a little shaky at points, but their strength has always been the mid-game, especially the mid-game macro, and they played that nearly flawlessly except for one overextension into the red side base where Castle was just going brazy under inhibitor turrets. But I'd like to look at that last fight because it illustrates the point that too many times it felt like the Renata and Draven were separated, right? I mean, it felt like Instant and Maximos were left all alone in the back line for Camille to just run completely wild. And we'll see it here, right? They go for a catch, but you see Soma is up with Oruses and Jesus Wept, and they both have to respect the hero's entrance from Mark Boots, and they back off of their no man's land. On the other side of the rift, I Am Sam, level 16 Camille. You cannot let her just run wild on a Zoe and Draven. And just completely eviscerates the majority of the damage and is able to zone them away from the rest of the team, all while Mark Boots and All For One are shredding your front line, and Renata is just sat there like, well, crap, I'm useless. So that fight alludes to what most of those fights looked like for Michigan Esports, and like you mentioned, Bonfire, it feels like Team Mission Black are rolling towards a championship.
Team Ambition Black have been the team to beat for what feels like the entirety of the season, but quietly it's really only been the playoffs. But they found their form, they found what works, They're incredible across the map, and the series, excuse me, is not over. But we're gonna have to see a reverse sweep from Michigan Esports against Team Ambition Black for there to be what we expect not to be the champion. The point of the matter is something needs to change for Michigan Esports.
Yeah, something needs to change. I like a lot of these comps they've drafted, and a lot of these they executed very well early with playing through instant. It just seems they have to find a way to, you know, get the mental back together and utilize these fights through instant better, because it seems like a couple of times they're just leaving them out to dry too much when they've focused so much of their resources and propping them up. As much as you think AD carry players can blow up and dominate fights, they are still very, very squishy and are so susceptible to so much of what Team Mission Black is throwing at them.
Hey, they're glass cannons. Half the word is cannon, the other half being glass, which means they crumble at the slightest bit of pressure. And Instant just got blown up way too many times, and it'll be curious to see if they pivot to focus another lane. But all of that is yet to be seen because we have to go to a quick break before we get into Game 3, before we get into the pivotal, possibly final game of the Divine League. Do not go anywhere, as we might be crowning a possible champion. Don't go anywhere. Well, Slayer, we are back for the Game 3 draft, and we're going to have to see something different. Or Michigan Esports is going to have a long train ride back to Wolverine Nation with not a trophy with them. Team Ambition Black. They're on championship weekend, I feel like. They've got a lot of different leagues that they're in the grand finals. This might be the first to what might be a very clean sweep for them across many amateur leagues.
Yeah, this seems like the summer of Team Ambition so far, and they are looking to start it off hot with a Divine League Summer Split 2022 champion victory. But it's not over yet. It's a best of five for a reason. I predicted Michigan Esports would lose this one 3-1, so I thought they'd take a game. Personally, Bonfire, I thought they would win at least one of game one or game two to make it interesting, but both our predictions are still alive for a reason, and as we get into this pivotal Game 3 draft, the bans really aren't changing that much up until that Sivir will be taken off All For One. So they want to see something switched up from the bottom lane of Team Ambition Black, which is interesting with how much success that squad has had in the solo lanes and jungle.
Yeah, I feel like what has really been the turning factor for Team Ambition Black, it's been I Am Sam, it's been Mark Boots, and it's been Castle 7, right? I don't want to diss on anybody on Team Ambition Black. Like, look, you have this lead for a reason, but at the end of the day, I Am Sam has just run instant down in every single fight, and it's interesting that they're choosing to ban out All for One's pool. That being said, I Am Sam is very good on a lot of different champions, so it could also be that, maybe 5 bans isn't enough, as Renata Glask is going to be taken for Team Ambition Black. You know how I feel about Renata Glask when played right.
Yes, and I think Turk has quietly had a very stellar series as well on the Rakan in Game 2 particularly. Renata Glassic is one of the most high variance supports right now in the meta, so I'm very excited to see Turk get to wield the hostile takeover, as on the flip side, we're going to see Soma try to wield the heart, what was the word I'm looking for? The hopeless romantic support of League of Legends, which is Rakan.
Yeah, I think Rakan and Renata are both very strong supports in the game right now, as it's going to be a different ADC that we're seeing right now. Jinx, I don't think is as meta as some other ADCs, but if you get her going and you get her in the right situation, I think she's unrivaled.
I think what they're trying to do here is the last couple games, Instant has been playing very, very well in the early and especially the mid game to make sure that they are a threat for those fights, but it just has gotten into situations where they've gotten caught alone, left alone to fend off against Fed Camille's, or just run into the snowball that was Team Ambition Black's top side of the map in game one. So Jinx is not only still fitting that hyperscale AD carry, but that get excited passive means that Jinx can become so much more slippery and can lend really well to well-versed kiting AD carries, which Instant has shown already, despite this being 0-2 in this series, can kite flawlessly.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern is that on the Draven last game, Instant found it difficult to move around. And so I think giving Instant another immobile ADC might be difficult. But if Rakan plays the lane correctly and the team fights correctly, there should never be an issue, especially with a Sejuani. I expect it to be in the top lane as well.
It certainly could be in the top lane. On Team Mission Black side, though, they're going for the old Enchanter Death Ball so far with a Poppy. This comp is one of the most annoying to play against ever, and should be very fun to watch. Renata and Seraphine working together. It's just so much crowd control. It's so much shielding. It's very hard to play against with two people that are very on point on the champions. We've seen it's Mark Boots coming off the Galio, which actually did get banned away. So maybe I guess this could actually be all for one on Seraphine. It could be the Enchanter Death Ball, and it looks like Michigan Esports thinks that it's Seraphine Renata in the bot lane. I'm curious, Bonfire, are you assuming that's their bot lane selections, or do you think Seraphine could be flex mid here?
I think it's Seraphine mid. I think Seraphine in the bot lane hasn't been incredibly viable recently, and as a mid laner, you also get damage out of the Seraphine, versus if it was a support or an ADC, it's not really where you want it to be. So I'd be surprised if it wasn't a Seraphine mid, but Michigan might know something we don't about All for One's champ pool, and are banning accordingly as they pick
No way.
themselves up the Gwen. The Darius being
No way.
hovered right now, I am Sam is very, very good on the Darius. Uh, kind of a Darius one trick at certain points, and so Darius has been incredibly strong in the upper bracket finals that I casted last week. He ended the series off with a penta. And so
Wow.
Darius is going to be picked up in the top lane. I am Sam's screaming to his team. If I'm going out on my OTP, and Darius it is.
Man, please rock the Dunk Master Darius skin to make my worlds collide so I can make so many basketball puns. But listen, Darius is certainly, I said earlier in the series, Medjai's Soul Stealer is the calling your shot item. Darius is the calling your shot top laner. Um, can
Mhm.
completely can take over some fights and go absolutely crazy, but also can be rendered completely useless if thrown around in the early game. So we'll see how Sam rocks with that. Cassiopeia is locked in, which does actually mean this is going to be all for one on the Seraphine.
Yeah, I think that Michigan had some knowledge that we possibly didn't scout out, and they're able to make sure that the Seraphine does indeed go bot, as Michigan are going to counter that with the with the Corki pick, which I think is interesting because I think Victor was 100% the wrong pick, and I like Corki a lot more. The package is so strong when you lend it with Gwen's slow, with Rakan's charm, and so I think that this Corki can do loads of damage. I think my biggest concern right now for Michigan's comp is where's the tank? You've got the Sejuani, but once that Sejuani goes down, you really don't have a lot of bruiserish champions. You really have to hope this Gwen can stay alive for a long time in these fights, because once Sejuani goes down, it gets difficult.
It certainly gets very, very difficult. And I am curious. I guess once we go fully client side, we'll figure out as we do start the client side draft. You can make the case, right, Bonfire, that Sejuani or Gwen could go either top or jungle. It's very variant flexible. So as we get through that, we'll figure out a bit of it. But looking at these comps, the dynamics are really interesting. I like Corky, still one of the most viable mid laners right now in my mind. Maybe not on the pedestal he used to be around, the worlds period, and once we got around to the new season early on those summer, excuse me, MSI. I didn't mean worlds, MSI season, and then once we got into the early stages of the summer splits. But still very viable, so I like that pick for Maximos. There's a lot of hyper carry ability for Michigan Esports. It just comes down to, can they finally knock the rhythm of mid game dominance that we've seen from Team Mission Black in my mind?
Yeah, I will say Team Ambition Black are on a whole different kind of style, right? They're taking their mid laner Mark Boots off of this champion Galio, and they're not even putting on him on something similar, right? Mark Boots is now suddenly on something entirely different and has to kind of do a different job. Cass is in no way at all like Galio. Cass doesn't go in. Cass can't doesn't have really map flexibility. In fact, maybe one of the slowest mid laners in the game, and so they're just switching things up. It seems like it's comfortability over flexibility for the side of Team Ambition Black, but I think anybody in the world would be hard pressed to bet against Team Ambition Black after what they've shown in these playoffs.
Exactly. That is certainly something that needs to be stated constantly as we go through here. We're getting client side draft wise, which does mean the likely duo from the top jungle, Jesus Wept and Orsis does come out. So it will be Orsis on the hyper carry Gwen in the top lane, and it will be Sejuani. And I'm looking for these two to link up early because Gwen is just absolutely bombastic in those team fights. Once a certain power spike item area is hit, why Gwen has fallen out of the meta is because her ability to survive early and before those power spikes has come through has been severely hurt compared to other members of the top lane pool. But she still can do those stupid 1v3 trades where she just seems to heal 1,000 health and blow people to smithereens. If they can get Orsis on that track early, should be on par to finally punch back in a series where Orsis has been absolutely turbo stomped into the dirt.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things that Michigan Esports has to do is they just have to make sure that it is a 5v5 this game. Obviously, in game one, Oris's went 0 and 10. In game two, it was Jesus Wept, who was really the one who struggled incredibly heavily. I think finished maybe 0 and 8 or 1 and 8. And so they just need to make sure that when there's losses, they negate it. They make sure that it's not losses that continue on. I think Team Ambition Black have done a fantastic job of punishing missing summoners, being out of position, roaming at the right times, and Michigan Esports hasn't done a good job of protecting their weaker champions. And that's kind of what it's come down to is, yeah, you don't need to worry about Maximals and Instant when the tanks and when the other members of Michigan Esports are so incredibly far behind.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Jesus Wept is certainly gonna have to be strapped to do a pretty good job peeling this game. Sejuani, it's hard though because you can get stuck in that tunnel with Sejuani of engage, 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 right? I mean, like trying to lock up and stun a high target jumping forward, you can forget about who's behind you. I think the one to watch though is I feel like me and you both were expecting Soma to play Renata Glassic really, really peel heavy and just seemingly was really enveloped and engaged Renata, running with the tanks, trying to get engages, good hooks. I think Rakan will suit Soma better and needs to make sure to focus on the number one priority, which is keeping instant firing, not creating picks.
Yeah, I think look, if it's not Soma protecting Instant, it has to be Jesus Wept. Somebody has to protect Instant. Like we made a joke during the break that Instant before every fight had to like just swallow a shot of alcohol and be like, "All right, time to die." That just cannot happen again if you're Michigan Esports. Your carries have to feel comfortable and it doesn't get easier, right? There's no Camille, sure, but Darius isn't exactly the, "Oh, thank God we're going against a Darius." type of champion, you know? Darius is like, "Oh god, Darius is here." So, protect Instant, protect Maximals, protect Oruses, although Oruses does have a bit of self-peel ability, and this game might go to a game 4.
Yeah, and remember game one, Instant was starting to run a little bit wild on Zeri on that late game peak, but then a couple of clutch wall slams from Castle's Poppy was what decided some of those fights and took Instant out of those fights. Castle's back on the Poppy this game, and Jinx is a little bit less mobile than Zeri once Lightning Crash gets popped. So even if you're not worrying about Camille slamming, blowing you up, you have to it's got to be in the back of Instant's mind that Castle completely shut down anything they tried to do in those late game fights, and it's something you're gonna have to worry about again. And think about how deadly, think about how deadly watching Encore and Hostile Takeover come at you at the same time. I mean, that long distance charm, that slow sleeping charm, and Hostile Takeover, if you get hit by both of those, you're stuck either hitting your teammates to death or dancing for about 5 seconds. So Instant's gonna have to worry about just as many projectiles and stuns, arguably, that we saw, maybe a little bit less than game two, but just as many as game one.
Well, we have ourselves a fantastic game 3 coming right up between both of these teams, possibly the last game played in the Divine League in the summer. Stay tuned as me and Slayer have you covered. Welcome to Game 3 of the series between Team Ambition Black and Michigan Esports. This is the Divine League Grand Finals. I'm Bonfire, joined alongside by Slayer and Slayer. This is about as high stakes as it gets for Michigan Esports.
Their backs are fully pressed against the wall here. There's no room for mistakes. The pressure is up. Let's see if the regular season champion, Michigan Esports, can crawl back here and make this interesting. Starting off again, simple fan start. You can feel the pressure of the grand finals. Nobody wants to try anything cheeky level 1, couple of bot wave wards. And I do want to talk about the bottom lane because I think for once, Bonfire, we might just see a farm lane with the matchup we have in front of us.
Yeah, and I don't think that's such a bad idea. Obviously, using all of those resources in the bot lane for Michigan Esports had its issues, let's say, for Jesus Wept and Oruses. And so I'm not so angry that they're just going to try to allocate different resources in other places. Although, again, all of that is experimental. It could also not be true. As Castle 7 and I Am Sam, I imagine this is just to get a ward out, although they're continuing to push. And they might actually just try to go for a steal here. And meanwhile, Michigan Esports have no vision on this. They have no idea that this is happening.
Yep, complete flawless walk right through, and Castle is going to start off by taking away the red buff. I'm curious to see the response if Castle's going to go for a vertical jungle. This might be Castle wanting to go for an early top gank. Like we talked about, Gwen's biggest weakness these days is her early game, and Darius is a big old bully out the gate, so gonna go right on and clear those raptors. And yeah, Castle's gonna go for a bit of a vertical clear here, maybe trying to set himself up for a mid gank early, but it's no surprises here. Is probably doing this so he can focus the solo lanes, which have been the strength of Team Mission Black this entire grand finals.
Yeah, and it's awful for Jesus Wept. Again, Jesus Wept had that early game last game where it turned out really well and then fell incredibly far behind because of it. This is very similar to that, where it's, yeah, you feel pretty good, and then you're like, wait, where are my camps? And Jesus Wept just has no idea where anything went. Might try to possible cross jungle, but Castle 7 is there, and they're going to know that Jesus Wept is there as well once they see him on vision. Jesus Wept trying to get an idea where everyone is.
He's going for pings. He's going to try and gank Darius.
I'm not sure if they have the damage for I Am Sam, but they think they do. I Am Sam does go in, does have flash though, great flash from Jesus Wept to lock him up, but Oruses is just burning. Do they have the damage on I Am Sam to start off? I Am Sam getting incredibly low. Great job on the Darius, and he's gonna get a double kill. I Am Sam, knowledge of champion, knowledge of first blood, and a second blood as well. And now they're just going to go for a regang. Oruses, there's an entire wave there, pushing it way too far. Castle 7 takes a tower shot. They can't make sure that Oruses gets everything, but they're just going to keep going in. They do not know how to stop I Am Sam. I'm curious to see if he pulls him. There's Castle 7 pulling the pressure, pulling the damage. Oruses is going to die first. Castle 7 is going to get traded out, but that is A-okay if you're Team Ambition Black. Another disaster in the top lane for Michigan Esports, and they go down early and often.
What an outplay of the grand finals from I Am Sam. He says, bring me two, I take them all. That was the cleanest Darius Q I've seen in Divine League history. Just a flawless kill there, stalled just long enough to get the healing. Castle was coming to save the Darius, but it did not matter. I Am Sam is trying to not only grab himself a sweep win for Team Mission Black, but the finals MVP with the way he's played in the top lane this series.
It was an incredible job of just knowing your champion. I think we talk about this a lot with Mark Boots, but I Am Sam's the same way. Obviously, has been on 3 different champions, but has done such an incredible job of knowing where your champion stops and starts. And Darius is no different, it seems.
Darius, yeah, certainly no different at all. No hesitation popping that ghost. I was just in awe watching that. I mean, I obviously am a man of so many words being a caster. I'm trying to make a career out of not shutting up, and I Am Sam is just shutting me up with some of these plays in the top lane.
Yeah, and he's shutting Michigan Esports up as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Michigan. Sorry about that. Just quickly went out for half a second. Gotta love the Wi-Fi issues, but we're back. We're, just talking about this game. Michigan Esports finds themselves down 9,000 gold early, not where you want to be, as Jesus Wept does have a ward in his jungle, and Castle 7 might try to utilize it.
It is 900 gold, which is a lot less than 9,000. But yeah, this is not going to get easier for
Yes.
Jesus Webb. 3v1.
Yeah, Jesus Webb flashless. A great job from Turk to pull him back, and Jesus Webb not nearly tanking up this early. On the other side of it, I Am Sam is just doubling.
Oh
He's going
my
in on
God. Not
Orsis
again!
along with Soma. I Am Sam on Darius. He's pushing in on Soma. Soma is in so much trouble right now, trying to run himself away. He gets stunned. He gets killed. That is a 4-0 Darius at 6 minutes, and that is a 2,000 gold difference, not 10,000, 2,000. Oh my goodness. Team Ambition Black is just absolutely dominating Michigan Esports.
That is the second time in 5 minutes that I Am Sam has 2v1 Oris and a member of Michigan Esports and come out alive and with kills. I mean, look at that gold. 3,500 at 6 minutes. He is up nearly 2,000 over Oris's. This Darius is going to run absolutely wild and doesn't even have the most overpowered part of his kit, which is that Noxian Guillotine, the dunk of the Dunk Master. Once it sets him up, that sets Darius up so well for all those resets, and he's going to have so much damage over top to deal with it. I don't even know how you answer this. If you're Michigan Esports, you have to find a way to send so many resources purely just to deal with I Am Sam, and we're only 6 minutes into this game.
Yeah, I think we all hoped that Michigan Esports would at least show a little bit more fight in this third game. Even if you're a Team Ambition Black fan, you want a competitive series. But man, Team Ambition Black is just dominating Michigan Esports in the early game of every game. This game is no different, doing an incredible job of soaking up damage and soaking up pressure and then just pushing back at such a volatile way. Incredible work from the entirety of the team, but huge shout out to I Am Sam. This game has been an absolute masterclass.
Yeah, and he's just going to continue to dictate the pace here. He's going to shove another wave in here. Noxian Guillotine's now available, so the stylish dunks are soon to come out for all the viewers at home, the Team Ambition faithful. And the thing is like, they, once again, Team Ambition Black, put so much pressure towards the top side of the map, right? Castle is still creating plays, fighting the Sejuani. They brought Turk up for that play at one point. So even while I Am Sam is outperforming everybody on Michigan Esports, they're still putting resources in the top side. All for One is still farming very well with Jinx, which means there's not even an advantage across the Rift.
No, there's really not. I don't know where you go if you're Michigan Esports. They are going to go for the Dragon, but Oris is in a load of trouble. Able to clear out the wards. Turk is there, though. I'm not really
it's
sure
happening
what
again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Orsis is to do. Doesn't realize that they possibly might be setting up a dive. Just has to clear this wave incredibly quickly. Does have ultimate, so might use ultimate on the wave just to clear it. But no, he can't even do that. Soaking up the damage from Castle, the double knock up, the ground, and there's the kill. Castle doesn't even get killed on the back end of it. I Am Sam now 5-0-1, and is going to get tower plates on the back end of it. Yeah, that's not fun if you're Oris's, and I said it in the draft, just make sure that one member of the team doesn't fall incredibly behind, and unfortunately, it is happening again.
Yep, and they picked, once again, against a comp that's trying to draft a bunch of hyper carry late game scalers, they picked the one that is probably the most threatening. And,
wow.
That's
a really good job from Jesus Wept.
Yeah, that was flawlessly played out. Beautiful frozen prism, I believe, or glacial prison, sorry, thrown over top, and you were not expecting a big burly Sejuani to jump over your Wraith Pit and jump out and knock you down. So there's a little bit of fight back from Michigan Esports. I mean, if we're to get the silver linings out, they got their first Drake of the series again, and now Jesus Wept is just, they're mailing in top lane. And they're going to try and get one of their other hyper carries going. And Corki is certainly a good option as well, as they caught Turk.
Oh, Turk. Oh, just gets pulled back on the stun. I'm worried if they have the damage, though, is my biggest concern. Indeed, they do. Bailout is not going to do anything, although he's able to pull him back before he dies. Can Mark Boots do anything with it? Does not seem like it, and they catch out with the support. So this is what you need to do if you're Michigan Esports, right? Find the picks and tell Gwen that you'll see her next game if there is a next game.
Yeah, you're just praying that you're just telling Oris is the turtle at this point. You have to prioritize other lanes. It's a hard thing to do in the comms for the mental, but if you're going to be a great team, then you're going to come back in this grand finals. That's what you're going to have to do as They might even set up here to dive All for One, who is word to the wiser, but their Armada is coming.
Yeah, All for One, a really good job from Soma to make sure that All for One didn't have a lot of places to go. A good ultimate, but did not end up mattering as Instant was able to get the rocket off before anything happened. Horus says, I'm not sure if you want this fight. Just getting a little bit of damage onto the Darius. That was actually good damage from Horus's. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that is really intriguing to see, but you know, here's the response. Castle is one of the best in Divine League. You get a 4-man dive bot side. You're just going to have to mail in the bot side and get some more gold for Mark Boots. And I'm liking this back from Michigan Esports, though. This first turret with all those plates, and we're seemingly an even game, so it's starting to shape up. This is once again going to be Team Vision Black playing through their jungle top.
Oh,
and how can Michigan...
He's had enough. He's had enough. Leave him alone. Orisis, get out. Orisis, they're coming for you.
You might be able to turn this one.
Orisis, get out of there. There's the ground. There's the root. There's the kill. Castle does not even fall to 50%.
And they're going to take that turret, too, to respond, and that should give them enough gold, but...
Yeah.
They have light at the end of the tunnel, right? At least Bonfire. I mean, look at how the gold dipped there. And the next two behind I Am Sam are Instant and Maximos, who can carry this game. You just cannot let those two get jumped on by I Am Sam like game one. Or game two, I mean. Because this Darius is going to be just as volatile, if not worse, than the Camille.
Yeah, this is... what they have to do, honestly, is they have to poke out this Darius. And they have a Maximos, they have Instant, so it's not completely, like, out of the question that they can make sure this Darius isn't exactly as healthy as you might want to be. But... I don't know, man. I Am Sam is really, really strong, getting the turret along with 6 kills at the 12-minute mark. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's about as strong as you can get in a competitive League of Legends game this early. But they're going to try to counterpunch in the top lane. All for One does get pushed out a little bit, but Jesus Web does not have the help that he needs, gets pushed back. But now Jesus Web doesn't have they don't have the damage against Jesus Web. Now they might. Maximos is going to do a ton of damage on All for One. Those rockets are doing good. Instant missing his. Jesus Web decides to go back in, dashes out, realizing that they are still there, they are still volatile, but they're chunking down this turret quietly in the top side. They're making sure that they're pulling so many members up towards the top lane, although I Am Sam is just able to get their jungle in the bot lane now because of it. Ooh, Jesus Wept. Might have pushed up too far. Again, Jesus Wept really playing on the edge of fear here. He's falling incredibly low. Goes in on the back end of it, but he is going to die for it as Castle 7. Now a great stun onto Maximos, and Instant and Soma now have to back away. That's a double kill going over for Mark Boots, trying to push themselves away. I felt like for the longest time Jesus Wept had pushed up too far, and indeed he had. Team Ambition Black benefit because of it, but they want to push back. They want to try to get Mark Boots here. Mark Boots getting a lot of damage onto Soma. Really good flash. Soma burning kind of low, but the damage isn't going to be there solely on that. Mark Boots trying to chase, but you have no boots. You're a snake. You cannot run them down as I Am Sam continues to just be a menace in the bot lane. Darius is such a strong split pusher.
Yeah, keep in mind while they're winning these fights for like 4 versus 4, they have a massive Darius in the side lanes just shoving all these waves in. He got full plates on that Bonfire. We're not even 14 minutes, so full plates into the Darius, more gold, 6-0-1. If they can win fights without him, this game may be the quickest one of the series.
Yeah, I mean, this Darius is such an absolute problem, and with that double kill going over to Mark Boots, just quietly putting themselves at third in the leaderboard across the entire team. Yeah, this just gets really difficult because you kill the Darius, you're just ignoring the Cassiopeia, you're ignoring the Seraphine, just is not really something you can do. And so Mark Boots is going to be now a huge problem to deal with, but they want to deal with it right now. They want to try to chase Mark Boots down. Mark Boots might be a little bit wise to this. Jesus Pep going to dash over the wall, see Mark Boots, but they have Mark Boots' escape pushed out right now. Great chain CC to keep Mark Boots in the same place, and they're able to get the shutdown over to Orisus, who desperately needed that money.
Horus has got 2 kills in his pocket now. This Gwen is going to be online a little bit. You will happily trade second Drake for a shutdown like that. So Michigan Esports, good, like we talked about. I mean, there's been points where this has felt like an absolute stomp, but Michigan Esports, they paved their way to the grand finals, and they've done a good job in multiple points of all 3 of these games at punching back. It's just, can they execute in fights? That's where the real gap feels. It can be felt across this series, and we have yet to get to a point where we can even see how they can punch back, and they're going to be behind when those fights really first come around, regardless.
I Am Sam is up 3,000 gold on the next possible person. I mean, that's unbelievable, unfathomable, as now All For One gets the package against him, is able to dodge out. That's a really good ultimate from Turk, but is it good enough? The bailout, not good enough, as Turk now is falling incredibly low. He's going to die as well. A picture-perfect tower dive for Michigan Esports, but is there more to be found? Castle 7 on the back side of it, trying to 1v9 right now.
No, Darius.
In. Here comes I Am Sam. Is he going to get knocked up? And they're trying everything against I Am Sam. I Am Sam can't find anything right now, but Soma's going to be the first to fall. But there goes the Cassiopeia. But I Am Sam's still alive. There's one. There's two. Get the third. He's getting kited out right now. There's four. There's the kill. I Am Sam is Darius in the flesh. He finds 5. The pentakill. And he gets them all in the grand finals.
That was a 3 versus 5. I'm speechless. He was just stuck in no man's land trying to Q Maximos for 10 seconds. He was just standing in the middle of the entire team, and he pulls out a pentakill. Are you kidding me? This can't get any crazier. He's 11-0-1. I have to see that again.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know. So this starts. They do a great job. You could take down the Renata and the Seraphine. They don't have enough damage on their own, right? So you can turret dive them easily, and you get Maximus and instant a kill. But all while this is going on, Castle stalls just long enough for the big man with the plan to show up. Ghost flash forward to try and kill Maximus. So look at this. He's just alone with Orsis, right? He's just like taking damage. The team is getting kited, and once the first Noxie guillotine comes out, it's raining hellfire. Bam! See you, Sejuani. Oh, later, Gwen. Maximos, come here. Dunk number 4, and instant is the final victim. That's what I was trying to tell you. Once Darius gets those resets, it is absolute wraps. And I Am Sam wants this to be done in 3.
Although we do have another fight. A great pull from I Am Sam.
Again.
Is this it again? Is it happening again? A double kill. Everyone is smart enough to run away to not give him his second penta of the game. I think he could stand in the middle of all of them and get a penta. I Am Sam with an unbelievable pull there to get 2 of them. Just an absolute menace. 13-0-1, the most farm in the game, tied with instant. Unbelievable from I Am Sam, and if they win this game, I think we might have our series MVP.
Oh my! I mean, Michigan Esports doesn't even have a heal cut, and they're playing against a 13-0 Darius. Like, he could get down to like 200 HP, and if he lands 1 Q onto 3 members, he'll heal for 600 or something. I'm convinced at this point.
Oh my goodness!
It's just it's absolute wraps. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, Michigan Esports is doing a good job picking off the other members. Look at this.
Yeah, they might get Castle here. Look at how fast Castle is, just able to run away. Castle just pushing himself away. I Am Sam. I mean, I feel like we should just have a camera in the corner of the screen. Just I Am Sam cam. I Am Cam. Just making sure that we know where this absolute menace is at all points in time. This Darius is unbelievable. And the quiet thing about I Am Sam is,
for him.
Darius, I would love to see it. I think I Am Sam knows that shutdown is way too valuable to give up. The thing about I Am Sam was an incredible Camille as well, a very, very good Aurelia. Just feels like every game I Am Sam has found another level of how good he can be.
He's had 3 items before 20 minutes.
Jesus.
That's just not okay.
It's just unbelievable.
It's just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I would say try and pick him off, but he literally can heal for 500 HP if he hits 2 or 3 of you with a Q. I'm losing my voice over I Am Sam's performance. You are taking my ability to speak away, literally, from a physiological standpoint with the Darius gameplay. Like, what else do I have to say? Like, what other commentary do I throw out?
It's unbelievable what he can do as a champion. It kind of breaks the idea of what professional League of Legends can be, because I mean, League of Legends is supposed to be a team game. Obviously, there's members that are stronger than others, but you're supposed to play with your team, and it has been a long time since I've seen one member do so well. But this game isn't over. It is a 4,000 gold difference, but a lot of that gold is on one member. And so that's the important thing is, look, it's near impossible to kill I Am Sam. But if you can kill I Am Sam, there is a very good chance that you win the team fight.
Oh no, he's flanking again.
Oh, goodness gracious. All
Oh,
right,
gosh.
Soma, run. Soma is able to get himself away. Now it's Oris who's in trouble, but I Am Sam isn't going to continue to push. It's kind of like a horror game at this point. It's like once you see I Am Sam, it's like, we got to run. We got to get the heck out of here. Instant just farming in the mid lane right now.
It's like you're hearing the Vecna clock go off, like the grandfather clock is just ringing from across the rift. And all right, here comes the Baron play. But you know, as they do, I do believe they'll pick up a free Baron bonfire. You mentioned it, right? 4,000 go. Oh, actually, never mind. Here's the flank.
Oh, really good ultimate from the side of Castle 7, just making sure that he can knock away the jungler. No steal possible. Orisis, you need to run. Orisis, you gotta get away there, bud. Orisis gets stunned up. Let's see how long this takes. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, Orisis does die. A really good package on the back end of it. Excuse me. I was clowning too quickly. I Am Sam is still alive, but he's getting incredibly low. And now Instant there. I Am Sam has to run. Instant the flash. Instant gets the shutdown. And
oh my God.
I Am Sam doesn't die in time. Oh, Instant survives for long enough. Does get the kill on the back end of it. The bailout almost kept I Am Sam there alive as Maximos might try to find something. I got over eager. I thought I Am Sam was going to blow up Oris's. Does get a couple of kills on the back end of it, including almost Jesus Wept, but at the end of the day, you take that if you're Michigan Esports, and quietly, only down 4,000 gold.
Production, I need the replay of on slow-mo of I Am Sam 1Q ultimate combo onto Instant. Yeah, because first of all, we have to look at that fight, because like you mentioned, Michigan actually won that. They were able to turn it around on the other side of the jungle. Orsis stayed alive for a very long time, so yeah, like you said, Grapekeeper's verdict. Castle gets Sejuani out of there. And now they're like, oh, there's a Gwen in our jungle.
It's a snake in my boot.
There's a snake in my boot. So Orsis gets stunned up, but the Gwen healing does a really good job over top. He's able to create a little bit of distance. The shielding, a beautiful Soma charm. Three-man charm. All for One gets another great one. Maximos' package is doing so much work to make sure I Am Sam can't heal. And Instant actually kills Poppy on the back end. Trade of flashes. Maximos flashes away from Sam before the hook, but watch this. This is just stupid. Q ult. That is 900 health, and the bailout nearly gets him, but as you saw, 1,000 gold over to Instant. Instant is, once again, third game in a row, quality play on the 80 carry slot on Jinx. 5-2-2. Has got to be the most gold. Has got to have the most gold on Michigan Esports, I assume. It might be Maximos, actually, from pure CS. But like we said, this Jinx, if they can keep Instant alive and he's not the focus, it is Instant. It is Instant, yeah, 11,000. This game, we're seeing them not be able to get to Instant, and you can't leave Poppy against the Jinx alone, or he's just going to get excited. And once he gets excited, this Jinx is a problem. So Michigan Esports, as crazy as this game has been with I Am Sam, they are in this game just as much as game 1 and more than I really thought they ever did with game 2. And here they go.
Oh, Jesus Wept wants to go in on all for one. A great keeper's verdict gets a lot of people out of the fight, including Instant. Instant has to walk himself back, and the fight just ends. They almost had all for one there, but Poppy makes sure that you do not have your AD carry in the fights, but that is that ultimate down. Now Jesus at Wept wants to continue fighting, wants to go in on turret, but does not have the team. He is stunned. He is going to try to get himself away. A really good ultimate from the Renata to charm him and keep him alive for just a little bit longer, and then he ends up dying. And so that is going to be a dead Jesus Wept, a dead member of the team of Michigan Esports. I Am Sam clearing waves. But they get the pick that they need. Orsis is possibly looking for something here, along with Soma, both members trying to find a counter fight, but it's a 4v5, so this might not be the fight that they want. I Am Sam just checking bushes, no fear at all in his heart, as now Castle's going to push Soma away. Soma's going to use his ultimate, a great double knockup as he finds both weak members, and All For One's getting incredibly low. All For One's getting so low. Maximo's trying to kill Turk right now. All For One might fall. Does a good flash, get himself away, just barely surviving. Oris is just biting his nails right there, but All For One survives, and Mark Boots isn't even there in that fight, and is able to just get a tower, I guess.
Yeah, but they're doing a really good job. I think that my favorite thing about what Michigan Esports is doing is They are doing a really good job at separating this Enchanter Deathball from the rest of their squad. I know we saw the crazy pentakill from I Am Sam, but that fight originally started because Michigan did a beautiful 4-man dive onto All For One and Renata Glassick. Excuse me, Turk. If you can continuously move Seraphine and Renata away from their team where they can thrive shielding, charming, but forcing the team to go against each other, the enemy team, they don't do any damage really right now because it's a Moonstone Renewer Seraphine. And you can just pick them off and blow them up because they're not squishy enough to sustain it. And this has been a couple of times where they've started fights by doing that, and it's been a recipe for success as they continue to chip at this gold lead. And the good thing is also, Bonfire, Cloud Soul is just not that valuable. They really can afford to continue to give these.
Yeah, they can sack a couple of dragons, but it doesn't get a lot easier, I will say. Like, this all for one just gets more shielding. Mark Boots just continues to scale. So, yes, I see where you're coming from that this game isn't over, and this is the closest the games have been. But it's, I mean, it's not close. Like, it is close, but it's not close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's overshadowed by him, Sam. I mean, we said it multiple times by this point that he is making this game seem so much further out of reach, but I still think the scaling factor is on the side of Michigan Esports. It's the problem of picking double enchanter bottom lane is you lose a lot of scaling. Sure, Mark Boots is playing Cassiopeia, who scales very, very well, but against a Corki Gwen Jinx, it's tough. And I Am Sam is gonna have to play these fights very, very well on Darius to get the correct resets to take over these fights.
Oh, now they're going in. Castle has to run himself away. Jesus Wet might have found Turk. A really good double charm. Turk's going to fall before anyone else does. Does have the bailout to keep themselves alive a little bit longer, as Ors is now fighting two in the back line, but staying alive long enough as All For One's going to fall too. Ors isn't even going to fall, and now Castle 7 has to run themselves away. I Am Sam wasn't there. A great rocket does not find the kill on Castle, but it's a 2 for none, and Michigan Esports is making me eat my words. They're winning fights. They're winning fights handily, not giving up a single member. Ors did a fantastic job keeping themselves alive for that entire fight, and they're going to be the benefactor of an entire tower here, as I Am Sam has just not found the angles and not found the leads that they have. When you're 16-1-1, you need to be more present in this game, as now Instant's going to turn on Baron. Possibly. This was a disaster the last time they tried to do it in game 2, and it seems like they've learned their lesson, just instead going for the scuttle. Castle going to face check to make sure they're not doing it. Doesn't find anyone. Castle continues to push just for a little bit of damage, it seems, as I Am Sam was there, but it does look like Jesus.
It looks like they might actually just turn onto the Baron here. My God, this is certainly a call. Michigan Esports is going to, I mean, they're shredding it. It's getting down to 6,000, 5,000. Can Michigan even contest here? I don't think they can. Keeper's verdict to keep Sejuani away, and there's the Baron, and they're going to just run right on out of there. And it looks like Bonfire might be lagging a little bit on the back end here, so I guess you're going to have to put up with my waning voice for a couple more minutes here. There is a couple of interesting avenues to mention, and, you know, the real difference in this game and why Michigan Esports is continuing to fight back, Instant is allowed to finally play the video game. It's the best way to state it. This Jinx is 7-2-2, 3 items deep. You can shred the members of Team Ambition. And also, because I Am Sam went for Ghost Flash against the teleport of Oris's and Maximos's teleport, they have much better global presence, right? You saw that Maximus was able to teleport over for that fight that was 4v5, and I Am Sam has to run all the way across the rift. By the time he showed up, he was much too late. So we'll see how that plays. I Am Sam is going to have to play with the team right now. He can't afford to go split push, as I can confirm Bonfire, I believe, lost his Wi-Fi. So
Yep.
we're going to have to rock with... Oh.
I did.
Oh, okay.
But luckily I'm a tech wizard and I'm back, because Soma might not be back. Has to try to get himself away from I Am Sam. A great package use, as they're able to set up I Am Sam. I Am Sam does use the ultimate. A great keeper's forwarding to make sure it's only Oris, as I Am Sam trying to do what he can. Instant on the backline. Does get stunned. A great flash along with Cleanse to get himself away. I Am Sam pushing it onto Instant. Can't find anything. I Am Sam feels like he's taking no damage. All for One does take damage, but not nearly enough. What was a huge fight with ultimates turns out with no one dying. They want to fight over this dragon. Almost every single ultimate used from every single member in the game. Maximal's instant, along with Mark Boots and I Am Sam are the only ones still having their ultimates. But that was a big fight with not a lot of implications.
Yeah, they can't afford to try and target I Am Sam. Like they can't blow him up. He's built so smartly. His build is so tanky because he knows that he needs to be able to survive in those fights, and he doesn't need too much damage. With the Kid of Darius, those resets, it's enough for execute value. So he has, Force of Nature, Thormail, and Spirit Visage. Michigan Esports, they can't make the mistake of trying to go for him anymore. They have to, as weird as it sounds, target and ignore him in fights.
All right.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Keep an eye on I Am Sam. He's in the back line. Now he's pushed up. Now he's in the front line, running up by himself. Feels comfortable enough just to fade out the wards, make sure that they can't get in. This feels like what has to be done. Orison does get pulled in, but Orison has to be careful. I Am Sam executes from 70% health. Yeah, if that did not show you how strong I Am Sam is, that'll show you there right now. I Am Sam just flexing his muscle. An unbelievable execute on Orison. You'll never see something like that in a very long time. As now they're pushing up. Now I Am Sam knows how strong he is, and Michigan Esports is quaking in the boots. This could be the end of the season for them.
There's no reason for I Am Sam to split away from the team anymore now, especially without teleport. You're seeing why. He demands so much pressure off the bat. Oh, but here we go.
They might have found Castle, but the Castle just lost themselves away. You cannot jump Castle. It's so difficult to find out who you can jump. Castle and I Am Sam doing a fantastic job of just eating the damage. I Am Sam pushing up right now. Those Corky Rockets do absolutely nothing. Keeper's Verdict is going to push Jesus Wept away. There goes that front line. There goes everything they need. I Am Sam's now pushing up on the Instant. Instant's going to get knocked away. Now he's going to get charmed. And this looks like a disaster. But I Am Sam doesn't get the reset. Castle's getting incredibly low. There's the reset. And I Am Sam is just ready to win this game. Team Ambition Black have shown that they are the best team in the Divine League all summer. And they will reap what they sow. If you are a fan of TAB, let me hear you in the Twitch chat, as they have just crowned themselves in a sweep fashion as the Divine League champions. I Am Sam is the best damn Darius player in the world, as All For One says it does not matter. Congratulations to Team Ambition Black for winning the Divine League here on Risen Esports.
Oh my god, 19-1-3 in a closing game. I Am Sam is the champion of this entire season, along with Team Ambition Black. Who should not be overshadowed as a squad. They played near flawless gameplay, but with that, I mean, I know we're supposed to get to this later, but he's the finals MVP.
Oh, really? Wow, that's crazy.
Well, I know, crazy, but I mean, the funniest part is what illustrates how valuable he was to that game was him trying to side lane and Team Mission Black nearly losing. That was the funniest part. They lost every fight kind of hard when he wasn't there.
I Am Sam did double as much damage as the second best person on his team. He had 33,000, second was 17,000. It's slightly less than double, but the point stands. This was I Am Sam's game to just flourish. He peacocked on Darius. Huge respect to Michigan Esports for playing this series and for having such a good regular season split, but they just stood no chance against the power that was Team Ambition Black.
Yeah, they have been a wrecking ball all playoffs long. Michigan Esports, you can have your regular season your championship, but Team Ambition Black is here to be. They're our current champions, and I believe we have a replay. I believe it's gonna be the last fight. So this is the last breakdown from Slayer of the Divine League Summer 2022, and obviously I Am Sam being here is such a big factor, but it's also the fact that you have those two enchanters behind you. I mean, look at that Encore, locks up instant from 500 feet away, forces his zombies out. There's a big carry, a huge hostile takeover that hit 4. So yeah, sure, I Am Sam is running absolutely rampant for his 18th and 19th kill here, but you also have Turk and All For One, who finally get to get their ultimates out and are super, super valuable. They do such a great job there. They had multiple members. So that was the comp executed to perfection from multiple angles, and what a fitting way to sweep with a perfect ace in the Michigan esports space. Congratulations once again to our Divine League Summer 2022 Split Champions, Team Ambition Black.
We're going to go to just a quick break as we have, I believe, the man himself here with us for a quick interview. I am Sam the man, whatever you want to call him. He will be here in just a quick second. You do not want to go anywhere. Hello and welcome back. We've got two of the winners here along with us, Team Ambition Black's finest. I am Sam and Mark Boots. Guys, congratulations on winning this league. I just want to ask you before I bring it over to Slayer for his question, I just want to ask, how does it feel?
Bam.
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good. Yeah, I mean, we won. I'm just happy that everyone on the team just played well, and we all had fun with it. And yeah,
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
okay,
feel
well,
great.
yeah, you feel okay. Awesome. I didn't mean to cut you off. I this question
Okay.
is burning in my mind because we got to go to the Penta Sam. So our POV is just screaming Sam at the top of your lungs. Talk me through like what's going through your head and what, as PG as you can keep it, what the comms on the Team Ambition side was like when that popped up.
um, I mean, I just remember I told him I was like, yo, if I show on this bot wave, they're gonna engage on you guys, so just don't walk up. And then probably Turk, dude, that guy loves just getting engaged on. That dude is a magnet, and he just walks up with the edge. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. And then, but there really wasn't that much comms ever. It kind of just went silent, and I just kind of did my thing. And then probably like after the fourth kill, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" But the last two kills, I was just spamming R. I wasn't really doing anything too fancy.
I love how
Well,
different our reactions are at Bonfire. It's us screaming
I
at the top
know.
of our lungs. They're just silent, like, "Oh, nice Penta, bro."
Yeah, I guess my next question has to be for Mark Boots because obviously your Galio was such a problem in the first two games. They banned it out. What was your reaction? Did you feel like you could do as well on Cass, or was it like, oh shoot, am I screwed?
Um, yeah, like the first two games. Well, actually, game one we were gonna be going Camille Galio. And then Sam like kind of screwed me over. He was like, "Oh, actually, I kind of just want to pick Irelia," and I'm like, "Dude, well, I just really want to play Galio right now." So I picked Galio anyway. It was a good game. And then game two, obviously, we did the Camille Galio. That felt great, you know. And then game three, what were we trying to do? Game three. Oh yeah, we were trying to get Silas. Um, so we were waiting, but they banned it. I think fifth ban, and then there were a few picks we had. Cassiopeia. I just kind of wanted to play it, and they also had like a short range team, and they had what's it called, Rakan and Sedge. So just kind of like helps disrupt the team when we have a Darius like running through them. Um, but yeah, definitely got caught a few times in that game. So
Well, certainly still worked out in the end. I mean, I honestly was surprised you were able to build Galio so aggressively AP and get up to 25 Magi stacks and not die. That was awesome to see. But I'm gonna go a little more big picture here because obviously you guys, your regular season was a little wonky, right? You had to forfeit one of the games. You had 3-2. Not the highest standard. Like you're not like Michigan Esports who go undefeated. So talk me through. Was there a mindset change? What really happened to spawn such a great winners bracket run through of the playoffs?
I'll just take this one because I think Sam's
Yeah,
just gonna botch it.
yeah, yeah. You take this one. You take this
All
one.
right, so the first when we FF'd initially, we didn't even know we had a game because we were doing like this big meetup with like all of our friends on Discord. So like we were kind of already in person, and then Castle actually he was with us. He went home, and he was at home. He messages me, and he's like, "Yo, we have a game tonight, by the way. They just invited me to the match, and I'm gonna have to forfeit." I was like, "All right, that's no worries. Like we'll make playoffs. It's fine." Um, and then the game we lost to Michigan. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Like if you actually look at the games, the last game we just lost because we just literally didn't hit the Nexus. We were just diving them on Fountain.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that
So
game.
we weren't like too worried honestly coming into finals. Like we thought that we were like generally just better. Even though we were 3-2 and they were 5-0, but yeah, that's the story for that.
Sam, I gotta ask you, out of fear of you botching it, it seems, but I have to ask you, this isn't your only finals, this kind of
Yeah.
starts the week of finals for you guys. What's the prediction? Are you guys just gonna stomp? Are you gonna just beat the entire amateur league up?
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I hope we win it all, but obviously, losing's part of the game. So, but obviously, all of us all of us want to win, and yeah, I think we're just gonna win and beat them all, win them all, grand finals
Yeah,
all
hat
around.
trick. We're hat tricking
Yeah,
it.
we're on the roll.
Oh, calling a
Yeah,
All
shot.
right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I do.
Triple 3-0 hat trick, last dance, because this is our last tournaments together. So last dance, triple hat trick, 3-0, all of them.
Yeah.
So do you guys expect the documentary on Netflix, or are you thinking
Yeah,
Hulu?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We expect it on developed by Team Ambition.
Should,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
prots get on that. Yeah, get on
Oh
that,
yeah,
prots.
yeah, gotta get on that. I do have to ask. You mentioned this is your last split together. What's the future for you guys? I guess one at a time. Sam, if you want to go first, and then Mark Boots. But where what happens after these the last dance?
Um, I mean, I mean, yeah, everyone's kind of focusing on like real life stuff, which is completely fine. But I'm probably still gonna be playing the game casually, and then if time passes and friends want to play again, I'm always down. But until then, I'll probably just be hanging out.
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, kind of. Uh, we have Castle's leaving the team, so it just like won't be the same. We've been friends for a while, like our whole group of people. Um, so we might continue with a different jungler and a different AD carry, possibly. It's a big what, like a big if. There's a good chance we just like don't play in anything. We just kind of play in some Saturday tournaments like the group we have now. But yeah, it's a big like 50% chance, I'd say. Like maybe even like less than that. We're just trying to end it on a bang, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you certainly started here with the Divine League, and once again congratulations to you guys, and of course, Sam, you are the Finals MVP of whatever that garners you, obviously in the series. So
Thanks.
congrats to that. I don't really have much else for you guys. I don't know if Bonfire does else, so I kind of just want to give you guys kind of the stage to shout out whoever you want to shout out. Whatever fair parting gifts as you exit the 2022 Summer Split Divine League as champion.
Yeah, I'll
Go
let
ahead,
Mark go
Sam.
first. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
go.
okay. Okay. Shout out to Prots and all of Team Ambition's staff. This is probably the most fun I've had on a team, and like the best like community I've had within a team. So definitely shout out to those guys. They're awesome. Shout out to anyone who watches and supports us. And finally, shout out to Bean. She's our team mascot. Go ahead,
Um,
Sam.
yeah. Shout out to Mitch Flurry. I love that guy. This guy's funniest dude. Shout out to Jig because all of us started on Mad City. We can't forget our roots. And yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, guys, again, congratulations. Fingers crossed you guys are able to make that last dance happen. If not, be proud that you were able to take down the best the Divine League has to offer. That'll wrap it all up for the Divine League. Thank you all again for all of the continued support. Me and Slayer, this has been an absolute dream from opening day to the grand finals. It's just been an absolute dream. There's no other better way to put it. But that'll wrap us up. Again, thank you so much for continuously viewing. Keep an eye out on our socials for new leagues coming out, as we are not going away anytime soon. But for the last time this summer, I'm Bonfire, he's Slayer, signing off.